I need your money to kill babies by abortion. You, taxpayer, give me your money to pay for baby killing.
No! I don't believe in abortion!
I don't care. Render to Caesar what is Caesar's. Give me money to kill babies.
All right, I'll pay you. Don't hit me
money.
anymore. Please, kill my baby. Kill my baby.
You, kill that woman's baby. Yes.
This beautiful and iridescent cloud was recently spotted in China.
Alright, so since there was a bunch of weirdos in the comment section saying that, oh, don't do a transition, we don't trust you with the transition, okay. There's a snowball, right here. It's right here. Hold on. Alright. No transition, guys. But you guys think that I'm swapping out fucking snowballs and shit. Weirdos. Look at that. Smells like plastic. Literally smells like plastic. Probably because it is. Probably because our snow is fake, our food is fake, our water's fucking fake. Everything's fake in this world, including the snow. If you guys live somewhere else and you're getting snow, do the same thing. Tag me in that shit. I'll throw it on my story. Fake ass snow. Yeah.
Happy guy, oh just a happy guy, oh just a look at the happy or the happy dog, oh just a happy dog. My happy guy, oh just a happy guy, oh just a look at the happy or the happy dog, oh just a happy dog.
Tropical parasites, your carefree infestation ends here. Tonight, you swim in ointments of righteous hygiene. Flee before the might of modern medicine. Mites, lice, and chiggers, your days are numbered. Yes, in this house, cleanliness is next to dogliness.
Hey, boyfriend, I found a butterfly that's already passed away. But if you're interested, come here, baby. Come here. I've got a butterfly for you. What are you bringing me? What are you bringing, Mama? What are you bringing me? Let me see. Oh, my goodness. Okay, we're bringing some fluff for our new home. Okay, look what I brought you. Do you want the butterfly? Okay, let Mama take this first. All right, I'll take that. Thank you. Well, thank you. Are you gonna? Thank you so much, kind sir. There we go. All right, you're such an angel. Thank you, chap. All right, you go get busy.
All right, hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome once again to another installment of Live from the Hive. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, coming in to you in my full demonic form tonight. Yeah, got my horns out. Figured it was time for y'all to see my true form. So here we are. I'm Baphomet. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Happy birthday to Sugar. It's Sugar's birthday. Happy birthday, Sugar. Can she hear me? I don't know if she can hear me or not. Happy birthday, sweetie. Yes, I'm Maleficent. I just didn't want everybody. I didn't want to make a big deal about it. but I am. And these horns, they're great except for the beads hit my eyelashes right here, and it's kind of annoying. This side doesn't, it misses them, but this side hits them, which is kind of annoying. I don't like it bouncing off my eyelashes, but I will persevere. I can always rig the beads up so they're tighter around there too. So there's things I can do. Good morning, my friends. Let me know. Do I look? It looks like I'm peaking really high. Am I on the right mic? Let me see. Why is it peaking so high? Yeah, it's on the right mic. No, it's not. Okay, hold on. Not on the right mic. Do I sound all wonky? Christ almighty. Hold on. Where's the sound settings at? Here we go. Switch it over. Does that sound better? Does that sound better? It looks better. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. Good grief. I don't know why it does that. So annoying. Yeah, I like the fake snow people. Because the fake snow, they're always like, it doesn't smell like water. It smells like chemicals. It smells like plastic. And they're sitting there with a light. They don't understand that the lighter is, the reason why it has this thing is it's not just a handle. It's full of fuel. So what you're smelling is the fuel, right? And the fuel has been sitting in plastic for months at least. Yeah, I don't know. It was annoying when the sound did that, but apparently people don't realize how bad my sound is until I switch it over and fix it, and they're like, "Ooh, that's much more crisp," you know. Oh yeah, here, let's do this real quick. If you for anybody who's not subscribed,
it's okay. You can touch it. You can touch it if you want to. I won't tell anybody. I won't hurt you.
How to do that? You can touch it. You can touch it if you want to. It's okay. I won't tell anybody. So I hope everybody's doing good this morning. Good morning. Good morning. We got a lively crowd in here. Got Kelly and Jur and Ember. Of course, Bugbot's buzzing around. Jason Jacoby's here. Did I say Kelly? Because Kelly's here. I don't care. I'll say Kelly twice. Good morning, friends. Who's your buddy is here? Hello, friend. Samantha's here. Hey, love. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hive. Yeah, this is a especially demonic episode, I guess, because we got, well, we'll look at the polls. Let's go look at the polls. A little bit early, but we'll still go. We'll allow it. Okay, so there's the polls. Give me just a second to get them pulled up here. There we go. All right, so finally, after months on the poll, we're doing Amityville today, which, yes, I've been looking forward to this. But let's see what it was up against, because this stuff will be on there next week for you all to choose from. So we have A Vampire in New England. That's Miss Mercy Brown. That actually tied, but since it was the newer one on the block, it did not get picked. So whichever one's been on there longer gets priority. But we still have the globsters on there, which are the big slimy boys that wash up on the shores. Big slimy globs of fat, meat, hair, bone, whatever, and that they're just not sure what it comes from, or people argue about what it comes from. There's a pretty good idea where they come from. But and then we have the Rougarou, which is a Louisiana werewolf creature. wolfman, dogman type creature. So I thought it was kind of funny. We got werewolf and vampire on the poll for the first time in forever. And actually, we had vampire, werewolf, ghost. So we had the whole Beaten Humans cast on here this week. Because we had Amityville on here too. And their pet globster. But we're going to be doing Amityville today. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm excited to return to 112 Ocean Avenue. Or I guess it's 108 Ocean Avenue now. We'll get into that too. Let's see what we're covering after that though. So on the polls for after that, we still have the Seeing Stones on here, which is like crystal balls and divination. Wish I had a crystal ball. If I had a crystal ball, I would use that for my crystal ball episode. And then we have the mystical martial arts, often referred to as bullshito, because the practitioners are often full of shit. The new one on the poll was the Wild Hunt, or Ghost Riders in the Sky, that phenomena. So we're gonna talk about that when we actually get that up on the polls. But right now, like, you can make a difference with these polls. You see, like, there's only 11 people voted on here. Like, if you didn't vote, you could come out here and vote and make a difference. You could sway the whole poll with just a couple votes. Now that this one's off here, there'll be something new on here next week with these three. Same with this one. Now that that's off there, there'll be something new on here with these three to vote on. So you go out and vote. Participate in the democratic process. It's your right. It's your right as an American. Yeah. Now, I also wanted to talk about Bree's Bestiary, okay? Because Bree's Bestiary is like an animal segment that I do at the end of the show. It's short. It's usually between 5 and 15 minutes. It's really short. And I've been doing it forever. Well, not forever. I haven't been doing it nearly as long as I've been doing Cryptic Corner. But before it was Bug of the Week, and then it expanded on to more animals, and now it's like it's just animal folklore in general. The very first thing I did was I guess it would be like a Bree's Bestiary about the murder hornets, about the Asian giant hornets. But there's a leaf blower outside my window. I'm just trying to persevere. Henry's not happy about it either. Henry is not happy about it either. If Henry doesn't bark to the leaf blowers, people will come in here and get us. So he barks at them to keep them away. I made Henry feel so proud of himself yesterday. So one of my roommates ordered some DoorDash stuff, but it was arriving after they had to be in bed. So I was the one to go down and get it. And the Henry heard them out there putting all the stuff down and started barking and losing his mind about it. And I went out and I waited a few minutes, and I went out there after I figured they'd be gone. And I told Henry what a good boy he was, that they scared the bad guys away, and he made them drop all their loot right outside our door, and we collected it all. And that was his earnings from his hard work scaring bad guys. You know, so he's very proud of himself. You think it sounds like a Toro leaf blower? Man, where is everybody this morning? I don't know if I've ever started the show with this few people before. I have more people than in the test stream thing I did with Lilith yesterday. The denizens of the internet. But anyway, about Bree's Bestiary. I'm cutting it from the show. I don't know if it'll come back in some form. It may at some point. But for right now, I'm cutting it from the show to allow the other two segments to breathe. Right? So there's not so I don't have to worry so much about going over. They can go up to an hour and a half. A gas-powered vibrator. That sounds, you better have enough lube for that. But especially Week and Weird, it seems like sometimes I feel like I'm rushed to wrap that up. They do come in gas-powered. I think they came in gas-powered before they ever came in electric. No doubt. But it's not that I don't like doing the Bree's Bestiary. It's that the segments have gotten shorter and shorter, I stopped doing standalone edited versions of them. It's just what you see in the live, and it keeps getting shorter and shorter. And yeah, I just feel like the nixing that could make room for more stuff. And then if you didn't see, the other thing I wanted to touch on, and then we'll get right into Cryptic Corner. If you didn't see, last night we are starting a call-in show called the Spirit Board. We're going to take calls about. It's basically so let me tell you a story. Back when I first joined this online community and stuff, like early on, I joined a group called Your Friendly Neighborhood Atheist, run by a gentleman named Ethan Michael, right? It was a small group of brand new YouTubers that were in the atheist skeptic community. I identified more as an atheist back then than I do now. Now I'd be like atheo-pagan or agnostic, something like that. But it's fine. Regardless, it was me. We had Secular Rarity was part of it at the very beginning. We had Martin. We had Neil the 604 Atheist joined us. R and Rod joined us a couple times too. Richard Gilliver got his start there. Secular Rarity got his start there too. Richard Gilliver got their start there. We had Arden Hart before Takis. Who else do we have? We had Surus on there. We had a few people got their start there. I mean, I'm one of them, really. I mean, you would say that. I still haven't got my start, though. I'm still waffling. Why am I blurry? But the show that we did was called The Perspective. And it was a call-in show, but it wasn't necessarily like the atheist experience and that kind of stuff. It was more we covered. We took calls from people with reporting that they had seen ghosts, or they encountered a cryptid like Bigfoot, or they had been abducted by aliens, or seen a UFO, or had a near-death experience, or sorry, had a body experience, not a near-death experience, had a body experience that, things like that. They saw an angel, and we'd take those calls and we kind of like parse them and stuff. So I want to keep doing that. Now the Perspective is no longer a thing. Ethan's doing his own stuff, got his own personal life stuff going on. He says that he always talks about bringing it back, but if he does, I'm there for it. I'll be on the show, but I want to continue to do it. And so me and a few of the gals from around the neighborhood have put together a little show, and we're gonna pilot it on Tuesday. I'm gonna get at least a couple calls. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but hopefully Henry's quieter when we do it. You can call in, Jason. If you have experience, you can call in. If you have a supernatural experience. The first show, the hosts are... I do want to host at some point, but at the beginning, I'm going to be like doing the producer stuff. So I'm going to have the first show, I'm going to have Lilith from Lil of All Trades. And then I'm going to have Helen, Hell's Bells from Skeptic Fireside. They're going to be our inaugural host on the show, right? They're going to be the ones up on the screen. I'm going to be in the producer's booth, and that's going to be Tuesday, right here on Hive Sci, right here on this channel. I'm going to keep things right here at home, and see if we can't garner up some interest in a new call-in show where we talk to people about woo. And also, there's another thing that we talked about. I like taking calls from witches, people who believe in curses and stuff like that. Freethinkers Fireside. There you go. That's what it is. I'll remember my experience. Henry barking might add to the spooky ambiance. You think so? But we'll have calls about Bigfoot. We'll have calls about ghosts. I already got a couple of people that said they're gonna call. Or they're gonna have them call. So we'll see if they actually turn up. I have to get confirmation from them. So you will be able to like just call in. Right now we don't have a number or anything, so you'll have to come in on StreamYard. But we will get that set up. We're gonna get everything set up. I thought about doing it on Discord, but I don't know. We shall see. Hopefully they finish this up working outside my window like this soon. I'm right by the main hub for the complex, right? Where all the workers go and everything. I'm right here by it. So, but they bring out the leaf blowers every 2 or 3 weeks and blow all the leaves away. I don't know why I don't like it. I don't like leaf blowers and removing the leaves. The leaves are there to keep the little creatures safe when it gets cold. It doesn't get too cold here. It doesn't get below freezing though. It does frost. We've even had some snow. Most of the time the snow stays up on the mountains though. It was pretty cool. The snow was up on the mountains for about a week. It looked really glossy and glistening, and in certain lights it would look blue and the mountains would look purple. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. One time I went hiking out there to the Oregon mountains, we showed up just in time to see them turn different colors through the sunset. I like watching, because you like look at the tops of the mountains and you can see where the sun's washed out, or I don't know what they call it when the atmosphere is thicker down at the bottom. And it like paints like a gradient on the mountainside. And since the mountainside's so textured, the gradient's really, really beautiful. If you get a chance, look up Oregon mountains at sunset. Very, very pretty range. All right, so who is ready to move into Cryptic Corner? I will see you all back here in just a moment. I think we have the musical stylings of Mr. Alex Jones coming up.
I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, oh, I killed a cow out back, baby. You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. That's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm gonna get my hands around your throat.
Hello, hello, my beauties and bees. Are my horns straight? There we go. Had to adjust my horns. Hello, hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. Now, we've run all over the world on this show, but there's one little section where I keep coming back to over and over again. It gets this really big cluster. And obviously, there's a good reason for it. This is one of the most populated regions in the world. But this little New York area has so much supernatural phenomena. It's out of this world, literally. Talking ghosts and cryptids and aliens and abductions. And we have this is Long Island right here, right? And you have, I think, Montauk's out here. Is this Montauk? Where's Montauk? Montauk Island's out here. And we'll have to visit. We're going to visit. It's on the list of things to cover in Week in Weird. Montauk is. But New York City. Yeah. And then this little island right here has like, I don't know, 2 billion people on it or something like that. It's absolutely massive. Such a huge city. Once you get out of here, it's more rural. But it's got like a little suburb. But the cool thing is, along the edge here, a lot of people don't drive cars. What they do is they have the little boats. They scoot up and down to work. Like, say you work at this Costco, and you could live over here, and you get in your little boat right here on your dock or whatever, and scoot on to work. You take your boat to work. It's pretty cool. That's kind of the cornerstone of the story that we're talking about today, and you all know the story we're talking about today. It takes place at this, what used to be 112, but is now 108 Ocean Avenue. Ocean Avenue runs north to south, right up to this junction, right? Along this little canal. Now, if I get up in here, you see these are houses with little boathouses and stuff. The one we're looking at has a little boathouse right here. The boathouse is kind of famous at this place, actually. And the property, if I drop down, I guess this is as close as it's going to let me get. Is blurred out. There's a good reason for that. There's people that live in this property get a lot of harassment. Because of course they do. Because this is the famous Amityville horror house. Right? It's not as big as you'd think. Pretty plain. Shaped like a barn. Built like a barn. But the famous eyes that were right here are square now. They got rid of those. Because it must have been awesome coming down South Ireland Place, though, and seeing them eyes staring at you when you get past Carmen, coming down the way, and then there's the Amityville house. I wonder how far away you have to get before. And it totally blinks it out there too. It blinks it out so much. But these I think they're called Dutch colonial windows like this. It's the same. It had these same things, except they were bigger. But even from way back here, they blur it out. Like you can't look at it. You can't see the Amityville house on Google Earth. There's no way. At least not street level. It's blurred. Now that's not demons. See, now this one is 108, and now this one's 112. This one used to be 112 when the people lived there, when the Lutzes lived there, the DeFeos. But speaking of Lutzes and DeFeos, I guess we could go ahead and dig into it. Let me catch up with the chat here. Boom, 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 boom. Guess you should chew. Oh, you're talking about the corn. I've been to Montauk Lighthouse. It's 1950s picture perfect, creepy AF. Jason, it's just an empty shell of corn that comes out. Your body takes out the insides, but the shell is hard to digest. Yeah, it's got lots of cellulose in it, which we can't really break down too well. I was doing a lot of infrared photography at the time and captured an invisible shell over the island. Must be CIA project, probably. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, so actually we can get pretty close. And look, they got a big old American flag. With these windows up here, the upstairs windows used to be those big half or quarter moon windows. They're really cool looking. All right, so I found this channel called Lost Eras, and let me see. I haven't decided whether I'm going to subscribe or not, but there's a lot of true crime stuff mostly. Which the Amityville horror really it is a true crime story. It just kind of spins out from there. But let's get started.
November 13th, 1974, 3:15 a.m., 112, Ocean Avenue, Amityville, New York. Inside a large Dutch colonial house on the water, 6 people are sleeping. A father, a mother, 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls, ages 9 to 18. In one of the bedrooms upstairs, a 23-year-old man picks up a .35 caliber Marlin rifle. He walks to his parents' bedroom first. 2 shots, both dead. Then his brother's room. 2 more dead. Then his sister's room. 2 more. 6 people. 6 bullets. All within 15 minutes. Here's what makes it strange. The house is not soundproofed. The rifle is loud. Deafeningly loud. The neighbors' houses are close enough to hear a raised voice, let alone gunfire. But nobody woke up.
Yeah, there you go. You can see the little creepy windows there. And they became like their signature because they're like the eyes of the house. Like if you try to get like a AI to make an Amityville house, it'll just make a house with creepy eyes up at the top. It's funny. Took me years to get my YouTube off the crime stories algorithm. Yeah.
In the next rooms.
That's the thing. If I fall into it, I will watch hours and hours of it. My favorite was always that chapter, the Scottish guy. I just like his storytelling. I don't know if you've ever seen that channel, but I like the way he says "turdy tree."
The neighbors outside. Every victim was found face down in their bed. No signs of struggle. No defensive wounds. As if they'd been sedated, or as if something had held them in place. The killer, Ronald DeFeo Jr., known as Butch, would later claim he heard voices commanding him to do it, that the house made him do it. 13 months later, a new family would move into 112 Ocean Avenue. George and Kathy Lutz, with Kathy's 3 children from a previous marriage. They would last 28 days. When they fled, they claimed the house was possessed, that demons lived in the walls, that they barely escaped with their lives. Their story became a book, then a movie, then a franchise. The Amityville Horror became one of the most famous haunted house stories in American history. But here's what almost nobody talks about. The Lutzes made millions of dollars. The lawyer who represented the killer admitted they made the whole story up over wine. And every family that lived in the house after the Lutzes said nothing ever happened. So what's the truth? Was 112 Ocean Avenue really haunted? Or was it the scene of the greatest horror hoax in American history? A hoax built on the graves of 6 real...
I think it's the latter, probably.
...murder victims. Title card. The Amityville Horror. The real story. The house. Let's...
Title card. Yeah, I love that. Title card.
Start with the house itself, because the house is where everything begins and ends. 112. Ocean Avenue was built in 1927. A large 3-story Dutch colonial with distinctive quarter-moon windows that looked like eyes staring out at the street. It sat on the Amityville River in a quiet...
They're not there anymore, though. Is that what that is called? The Amityville River? This thing right here? I thought it was just a canal. Is it a river? That says Amityville Creek, not river. The high school's right there too. This is like going to be brackish water then. But that's not a river. And there's a whole bunch of them all along here. It's a way of life. A way of life for these people. That's the thing, though. I would have a hard time walking in a neighborhood like that, though, because I like to explore and try to cut across and find shortcuts and stuff. I'd be trying to cut across and hit a canal. You can't swim in it because this is way too close to where those Jersey Shore shark attacks were. Right here, right? It's just a hop, a skip, and a jump away from killer great white sharks. Which, ironically, if you talk about Amityville, the island from Jaws is named after Amityville, the Amityville horror, Amity Island. And it's actually based on Nantucket, though. It's based on this island, but it's named after this city. But it's based on something that happened over here. Fun little fact. All right.
Middle-class neighborhood on Long Island. Not a mansion, not a shack, just a nice family home in a nice family neighborhood. In 1965, Ronald DeFeo Sr. and his wife Louise bought the house. They had 5 children. Ronald Jr., called Butch, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew. Ronald Sr. worked for his father-in-law's successful Buick dealership in Brooklyn. The family was comfortable, not rich, but doing well. From the outside, they looked like the American dream. But inside 112 Ocean Avenue, things were different.
I removed my YouTube account a couple of weeks ago and started from scratch. In fact, had to search for Bree today. Oh, you starting over? Clean slate, Mr. Hudson? Maybe sub to 7 channels now. I hope you're sub to mine. There are a whole lot of tiny rivers along the island. Almost as many as there are 7-Elevens. Yeah, it's like how there's Dollar Generals in every little town now.
The father, Ronald DeFeo Sr., was, by all accounts, a violent man. He beat his wife. He beat his children. Neighbors reported hearing screaming matches that lasted for hours. Butch, the oldest...
That's Butch, though. That's not the dad.
...son, bore the worst of it. Ronald Sr. had a temper that could ignite over nothing. A spilled drink.
Both the father and the son are named Ronald. They call the younger one Ronnie or Butch, though. So that's how you keep track of it.
The door left open. A wrong word. When it did, his fists came out. Butch grew up watching his father brutalize his mother. Grew up being brutalized himself. And somewhere along the way, something broke inside him. The son. By his early 20s, Butch DeFeo was a mess. He was overweight, angry, and addicted to heroin. He'd been fired from multiple jobs, including one at his grandfather's dealership where he was caught stealing. He had a criminal record, petty theft, drug possession. He carried a .35 caliber rifle around the house for protection, though from what, nobody was sure. And
yeah. That's the thing, too, though. If, you start packing around a goddamn rifle around your house with little kids in it, with my kids in it, we're going to have problems. I'm not an anti-gun person. I'm an anti-gun for me person. I don't like handling guns, really. I do need to learn how to use one because I think we're headed towards World War III, and I need to be able to defend myself. These horns aren't going to protect me from bullets. So I do need to be able to protect myself. But, yeah, guns need to be handled responsibly, not packed around the house with little kids, not sitting on the couch next to you while you're watching TV and the kids are playing on the floor. No, they weren't his kids. And he wonders why, I don't think he wonders why him and his dad didn't get along. Was he going to shoot his dad? Has he been... Oh my goodness.
hated his father. The two fought constantly. Screaming matches.
He doesn't look overweight, but we gotta remember. Hold on, I want to back up. We gotta remember though, this is 1970s overweight, not current overweight. So I'd be considered overweight in the 70s because I have a tummy. But yeah, heroin usually helps you lose weight though. Give trans people guns. In Texas, emotional support rifles are very common. You're not wrong.
Father. The two fought constantly, screaming matches that turned physical. Butch once pulled a gun on his father during an argument. Ronald Sr. called the police, but later dropped the charges. The family was...
Now, isn't that kind of a given right there? Oh, he's already pulled a gun on his family members once. So, who shot? Oh, what caused him to shoot his family later? Oh my gosh.
Trapped in a cycle of violence and dysfunction, and 112 Ocean Avenue was the pressure cooker where it all festered. Something was going to break. The only question was when. November 13th, 1974. The night of November 12th, 1974 seemed normal enough. The DeFeo family had dinner together. Ronald Sr. and Louise went to bed around 11 p.m. The children followed shortly after. Butch stayed up late, as he often did. At some point in the early morning hours, police would later estimate around 3:15 a.m., he picked up his Marlin rifle. What happened next is a matter of public record, documented in crime scene photos, autopsy reports, and trial testimony. Butch walked into his parents' bedroom on the...
So, before we move on from this picture, this is Dawn. This girl right here. This is the eldest sister. I think she was 18. But, and maybe we'll get to it. I don't know the other videos. One of the other videos I watched covered it in more detail, but this one was a better time fit. But he claims that she helped him. Now, if you watch Amityville 2, the movie Amityville 2. So Amityville 1, the movie with James Brolin and was it Margot Kidder? Freaking a mastery of horror filmmaking. It's done great. I'm not trying to throw shade at the Ryan Reynolds remake. It's it comes across more like just a basic haunted house film. There's something special about the way that the Amityville horror, the original, is produced and the way that it's presented. Now the sequel, Amityville 2, The Possession, tells allegedly it tells a version of the story of this family, of the DeFeos. There's two families here, the DeFeos and the Lutzes. Which the Amityville is about the Lutzes, and the Amityville 2 Possession is about the DeFeos. And in that version of it, these two are having a secret incestuous relationship as part of the story plot. But he does claim that she helped him kill their parents. And then when he turned his back or whatever, she took the rifle upstairs and killed these three. And then they got in a fight about it and he killed her. That's his story. That he didn't kill the kids, that she did. And he only killed the parents. But the older sister, she can't defend herself at this point because she's dead, so...
Second floor. His father was lying on his stomach, asleep. Butch fired twice, once into his back, once into his neck. Ronald DeFeo Sr. died instantly. Louise DeFeo woke up. She managed to turn partially before Butch fired 2 shots into her. One bullet struck her in the face. She died next to her husband. Then Butch went to his brother's room. Mark, 12, and John Matthew, 9, shared a bedroom. Both were shot once in the back while lying face down. Both died instantly. Next was his sister's room. Dawn, 18, and Allison, 13. Both shot once in the head while lying face down in their beds. 6 people, 6 bullets, all dead.
See, that's the part of Amityville horror that is kind of like, what the hell? Because nobody woke up. Like everybody was in their bed face down. I don't know if they ever did a toxicology on them. Could they have been drugged or sedated, put in their bed, and executed? I'm considered not just overweight, but obese. So I'm not sure what the standard is supposed to be. Skeleton people? Yeah. We had a video about skeleton people not that long ago. In Canada. They're Canadian skeleton people, eh?
These would later reveal that all victims had been shot at close range while lying in their beds. All were found face down. None showed signs of struggle. The house was silent. No one in the neighboring homes heard the shots. No one called the police. No one came to help. By 3:30 a.m., Butch DeFeo was the only person alive at 112 Ocean Avenue. The aftermath. Butch showered. He collected the shell casings. He hid the rifle and the bloody clothing in a storm drain 2 blocks away. Then he went to work. Yes, work. As if nothing had happened. Around 6 p.m. that evening, nearly 15 hours after the murders, Butch ran into a local bar called Henry's, screaming that someone had killed his family. He led a group of friends back to 112 Ocean Avenue. They found the bodies exactly as Butch had left them that morning. The police arrived, the house was sealed, the investigation began, and almost immediately, the story started to fall apart. The lies begin. Butch told police that he'd come home around 6 p.m. and found everyone dead. He claimed he'd been at work all day, but his co-workers said he'd left work early. His timeline didn't match the evidence. And when detectives searched the storm...
What did you do all day, Butch?
They found the rifle, the shell casings, and Butch's bloody clothes. Within 24 hours, Butch confessed. Sort of. He admitted to killing his family, but claimed he'd been commanded to do it by voices in his head. He said the house made him do it, that there was an evil presence in 112 Ocean Avenue that controlled him. His lawyer,
But he didn't... It wasn't successful with that defense.
Weber, initially tried an insanity defense, but the prosecution's psychiatrists found Butch sane and aware of his actions. The trial lasted a month. On November 21, 1975, Ronald DeFeo Jr. was found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences, 25 years to life on each count. He would die in prison in 2021, still claiming the house made him do it. But the real question that haunted investigators wasn't whether Butch killed his family. The evidence was overwhelming. The real question was, why didn't anyone wake up? The unanswered questions. Think about it.
That's the part that gets me. It's like, why didn't anybody wake up when the gunshots were going off?
A caliber Marlin rifle is loud. It's not a silenced pistol. It's a hunting rifle designed to bring down large game at distance. Inside a house at night, the sound would be deafening. Yet somehow, Butch fired 6 shots in 3 different bedrooms over the course of at least several minutes, and nobody woke up. His brothers, sleeping in the next room, didn't hear their parents being shot. His sisters didn't hear their brothers being shot. The neighbors, whose houses were close enough to hear conversations through open windows, didn't hear anything. And every single victim...
Now, in the movies, they have a thunderstorm going while this is happening, and like having like firing when the thunder strikes. But I don't know. That's pretty far-fetched. I don't even know if you can do that, if you can time your execution rifle fire. And even when I'm asleep, though, if a big thunderclap happens, my ass is waking up. I wake up and like, oh my gosh, what was that? You know, I don't just go on snoozing. So even if he did time it with the thunder, it doesn't say it wouldn't wake up the person sleeping in the next. But every one of these people had another person in the room with them. So there's the 2 parents in one room, the 2 younger brothers the 2 brothers in one room, and then the 2 sisters in another room, and all of them shared would have had to had one of the people in the rooms have a rifle fired in the bedroom with them while they're sleeping and not wake up. I don't understand how that works. That's the part that gets me about the Amityville horror.
Was found face down, as if they'd been asleep when shot. No signs of struggle, no defensive wounds, no indication they'd tried to run or fight back. The official explanation from police was that the family was used to loud arguments and might have dismissed the sound, or that perhaps Butch used a pillow to muffle the shots. But forensics found no pillow fiber.
Someone firing a rifle at the person in the bed next to you. Oh, well, maybe they used a pillow to silence it? Come on. If he had previously brandished the gun, they might have been catatonic, understanding what was happening. Like, he made them all go lay in their beds, face down. I want to. Hey, good morning, Sabrina May. I want to wonder if there was a toxicology done on the family. That'd be an interesting thing to look into.
In the wounds, and the loud argument explanation doesn't account for why the children didn't wake up after hearing their parents being killed. Some investigators theorized that Butch had drugged the family, but the autopsies found no sedatives in their systems. Others suggested that Dawn,
okay, so there was a toxicology report done. Yeah, some people do freeze, but I don't know. Like, if I heard gunshots from my parents' room, and I knew my older sibling had already talked about shooting my dad, I heard gunshots from the other room, and I was sleeping, I would want to get up and run. I wouldn't lay in my bed face down. I don't know, but you're right. People do freeze when they hear or hide under their beds. Most kids go under their beds or in their closets. They actually played up on that with this girl in the reboot movie, the Ryan Reynolds one, and had her be like go and hide in the closet where she got shot. What are the chances that every member sleeping in the same face down position? Yeah, that's true too. Like, what if he ordered everybody to go lay in their beds face down, but then they would he'd have to leave them. Like, if he's like, okay, everybody go to the room, then while he's in the parents' room, the kids are unattended in the other room. But if it was him and Dawn working together, that might have worked.
Daughter might have helped Butch kill the family, which would explain why her body position was slightly different. She was lying on her stomach, but with her hands beneath her, as if she'd been holding herself up before being shot. But this theory was never proven. The truth is, we don't know. And that mystery, that gap in the logical explanation, is what left the door open for everything that came after. Because when the Lutz family moved into 112 Ocean Avenue 13 months later... All right,
time to get into the Lutzes. This is where things get off the rails. So right now we've just covered basically a true crime mystery, right? This is the real Amityville mystery, is how Butch DeFeo killed 6 members of his family in the dead of the night with a hunting rifle, and nobody heard anything in a crowded suburban neighborhood where we looked how close together the houses were. Like, look how close their neighbors are, right? These people are you could literally throw a stone out from either of these neighbors' houses and hit the Amityville house, right? Their neighbors are close, very close. And someone's firing a hunting rifle 6 times in the middle of the night right here, and these people don't hear it. That's the mystery. That's the real mystery that we're digging into. What is not a real mystery is what we're about to hear.
The unsolved questions. They knew about the voices Butch claimed to hear. They knew about the strange, silent massacre, and whether intentionally or not, they built their story on that foundation of real horror. December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz were looking for a deal. George was a land surveyor, Kathy a homemaker with 3 young children from her previous marriage. They wanted a big house on the water, but couldn't afford Long Island's usual prices. Then they found 112 Ocean Avenue. The house had been on the market for over a year. Everyone in Amityville knew what had happened there. The realtor was legally required to disclose the murders. The asking price had been slashed to $80,000, well below.
That's a good idea, though. Take advantage of murder houses, because in this economy, right, you have to use whatever benefits you can. You look for murder houses and be like, look, I know this is a murder house, so I want a discount. If I'm going to have demons growling in my basement, right? If I'm going to have the lights flickering and slime dripping down the walls, if I'm going to have my face turned to a skeleton in the mirror, I want some discounts on the rent. That caliber rifle isn't very loud. Yeah, but in indoors, I think even the quietest firing it indoors.
Value for a waterfront property that size. The Lutzes didn't care about the history, or at least that's what they said. They toured the house. They saw the bloodstains still visible on the floors. They knew 6 people had died there, and they bought it anyway. On December 18, 1975, exactly 13 months and 5 days after the DeFeo murders, the Lutz family moved into 112 Ocean Avenue. They would claim to last exactly 28 days. The 28 days. According to the Lutzes, the horror began almost immediately. George
28 days in hell. There's my links to buy me a coffee. Go buy me a coffee. Buy me coffee, because this is how I'm surviving right now. So anything you can provide, any kind of assistance to help the Hive out, please do so. We appreciate it. Yeah, and I didn't realize that you could leave little video messages and stuff, but and I didn't realize I could respond to everybody. So I've started sending a response back to the people who donated. I should do just a buy me coffee appreciation stream and go through and list all the people who have supported the Hive over the last year or so. Yeah.
Religious man suddenly felt compelled to have the house blessed. They called a local Catholic priest, Father Ralph Pecoraro, who agreed to perform the blessing. The Lutzes claimed that during the blessing, Father Pecoraro heard a deep voice command him to get out. The priest alleged.
It was like that. If you watch the movie, that was such a good scene where the priest is in the upstairs room with the flies all over the window and all landing all over him, and the music's playing, and all of a sudden the music stops. That's such good cinematography. And the priest is like, "What the hell?" We couldn't hear the music, but something triggered him, right? And then the door swings open, and the voice goes, "Get out." And then he hesitates and weird, and it screams like, "Get out!" And then he runs, and then he gets blisters on his hands. He's holding the crucifix, right? And it burns his hand, I think, is the issue. And it starts the whole scene. But yeah, it's a good scene. It's a good movie. It's a good horror movie.
Lee became violently ill and left immediately, later advising the family not to use the second-floor bedroom where the voice had come from, the same room where Ron and Louise DeFeo had been murdered. Father Pecoraro would later give conflicting statements about whether this actually happened. The Lutzes claimed that strange things.
Wait, the master bed wouldn't Ron and Louise be in the master bedroom? So the priest said, "Don't stay in the master bedroom," for real?
Immediately after the blessing, swarms of flies appeared in the house, despite it being winter doors, and windows opened and slammed shut on their own green slime, oozed from the walls and keyholes. A crucifix on the wall turned upside down. Kathy suffered nightmares about the murders, seeing them as they happened. George woke up every night at 3:15 a.m., the exact time of the murders. The children's personalities changed. The youngest, Missy, claimed to have an invisible friend named Jody, who was a pig. George saw glowing red eyes staring at him from outside the house. They discovered a small hidden room in the basement with red walls. A secret room.
Red room.
That wasn't on the house plans. The activity escalated. According to George, he became obsessed with the fireplace, keeping it burning constantly and refusing to leave the house. He stopped bathing, stopped working, and became violent and withdrawn. Kathy claimed she was physically transformed, aging years in a matter of days. Their financial situation collapsed. George wasn't working, and they were burning through
their financial situation was pretty rough to begin with.
Through their savings trying to keep warm in a house that remained freezing cold despite the roaring fire. Finally, on January 14th, 1976, 28 days...
Yeah, where she's looking out the window and there's those glowing red eyes outside. Yeah.
After moving in, the Lutzes claimed they fled the house in the middle of the night, leaving almost everything behind. They drove to Kathy's mother's house and never returned to 112 Ocean Avenue. They left behind their furniture, their belongings, and $60,000 in equity. And then they started talking. The book deal. This is where the story gets interesting. Shortly after fleeing the house, George Lutz contacted William Weber, Ronald DeFeo's defense attorney. Yes, the same William Weber who had represented Butch in the murder trial. The same lawyer who had used the voices made him do it defense. Weber saw an opportunity. He proposed that he and the Lutzes write a book together about the true haunting of 112 Ocean Avenue.
The empty rocking chair was Amityville. Yeah, that's Jody, the little girl's imaginary friend. When the mom leaves the room and the rocking chair starts rocking, that's Jody. Jody's also presumably supposed to be the eyes outside the window. And Jody's like a demon pig.
Book would help support a new appeal for DeFeo. If the house really was evil, maybe it really had controlled Butch, and it would make everyone involved a lot of money. According to Weber's later testimony, he sat down with George and Kathy.
So this is the original devil made me do it defense, right? And then you get the son of Sam later on, but Butch did it first.
Over several bottles of wine, and they created the story of the Amityville horror together. They took real details from the DeFeo murders, the 3:15 a.m. timeline, the strange lack of noise, Butch's claims about voices, and wove them into a narrative of supernatural terror. Weber later stated in a 1979 interview, "We created this horror story over many bottles of wine that George was drinking. We were really playing with each other. We were creating something the public wanted to hear about." The Lutzes denied this. They insisted every word was true. In September 1977, The Amityville Horror, A True Story by Jay Anson was published. It became an...
I have read this too. I've read this and I've watched every version of the movie. I will say that beyond the sequels of The Possession, which is more of a prequel, none of the other Amityville movies have anything or don't have much to do with actual Amityville haunting. And they'd be like, and there's one where there's like a lamp that was from the Amityville house that's like possessed. It's really literally an Amityville movie about a possessed lamp.
Idiot bestseller, spending 42 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. The book was marketed as nonfiction, as a true account of a real haunting, and America believed it. The Lutzes became famous overnight. Talk show appearances, newspaper interviews. They were the family who survived the most haunted house in America. In 1979, the book was adapted into a movie starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder. It grossed over $86 million.
God, she's gorgeous. I can't get over how pretty she is.
Dollars at the box office, one of the highest grossing independent films of all time. The Lutzes made millions. William Weber made money. The publisher made money. The only people who didn't benefit were the 6 DeFeo victims, whose real murders were now buried under layers of fiction and exploitation. But here's the question nobody was asking in 1977. If the house was really haunted, why didn't anything happen to the families who lived there after the Lutzes? Because people did live there for decades.
Because the Lutzes took the demons with them. They adopted Jody. She's part of the family now.
And they had a very different story to tell. The Cromartie family. In March 1977, just 2 months after the Lutzes fled, and while the Amityville horror book was being written, a new family moved into 112 Ocean Avenue. Jim and Barbara Cromartie bought the house for $55,000. They knew about the murders. They knew about the Lutz story, which was...
She's pretty too. She's a badass. She's like, yeah, I don't believe any of this bullshit. I'm gonna live in this house.
Already spreading through the media. They didn't care. Jim Cromartie was a former Marine. Barbara was a no-nonsense woman who thought the whole haunting story was ridiculous. They had 4 children and needed a big house on the water, and 112 Ocean Avenue was available at a price they could afford, so they moved in. The press followed immediately. Reporters camped outside. Curiosity seekers drove by at all hours. Tour buses started including the house on their routes. The Cromarties were furious, not at ghosts, but at the invasion of their privacy. They granted one interview to the media, and what they said was blunt. Nothing weird has happened here. No voices, no slime, no flies, no demons. The only thing...
I would see, like, that's the issue I had a lot when I go to, like, I was a paranormal investigator for years, right? And we'd go places and people would be like, this happened and that happened and this happened, and you know, I'd be like, oh, cool, oh my gosh, I want to go in that room. Can I stay in that room so I can experience that? And I would go into that space and I'd never get anything ever. I was like, are they scared of me? What's the deal? Like, even people on my own team would be like, oh yeah, we were in this room and this thing happened. And I'd get like, why didn't anything ever happen when I'm in the room? Maybe I'm like the Cromarties. And I'm like, scaring the ghost away. Maybe there's just those of us out here with cleansing auras that scare the ghost away.
That bothers us is the people outside taking pictures and the reporters who won't leave us alone. They lived in the house for 10 years. 10 years. Not 28 days. 10 years. And according to the Cromarties, nothing paranormal ever happened. Not once. Barbara Cromartie later told reporters, the only problem with the house was the legacy the Lutzes left behind. We couldn't have a normal life because everyone thought we were living in a haunted house. The family eventually sold the house in 1987. Not because of ghosts, but because they were tired of the attention. The next owners.
When I was a kid, there was this house, like, there was a... I don't want to bring it up on the map. That'd probably be bad form for me. But between the elementary school and the middle school, there was this house on the corner, the big yellow house. Before the town grew up, it had a bigger property, but the land had been pieced out into smaller properties, and smaller homes were built on there. But at one point in time, it was like a big piece of property on this corner with lots of bedrooms. At some point in time, it had been turned into apartments. It was a house, and then for a while, it was a house for special needs people were living there. But it was always haunted. It was an old house too. It had like spiral staircase from like the I want to say it was the mid 1800s, like 1860s. It was. I know it was built with slave labor. That was one of the things about it. But it was an old house, and it was haunted. And we would, on Halloween, you'd dare people to go look in the window or to knock on the door or something like that. People lived in it. I mean, they rented it out and stuff, and people owned it and lived in it. Like I said, there was developmentally disabled people that lived there for a while. In the 80s, this old lady bought it, and she might have been the one that had the developmentally disabled people too. But she was a hoarder, Anyway, so all through my childhood, this house is allegedly haunted and kind of legendary. Then when my youngest son, when my ex got pregnant with my youngest son, we were looking for a bigger place to live in, and that house was up for rent. So we moved into it, and we lived in that haunted house, allegedly haunted house, for 8 years. Never had any kind of supernatural experiences in it, unfortunately. But we lived there for 8 years, and it was fairly uneventful. So I kind of get that. But like, people would ask when I'd be like, "Oh, you live in the I don't want to say the name of the house because then people will know where." I don't want to cause any problems for people living there right now. But anyway, they'd be like, "Oh, you live in the blank house. Do you all ever have ghostly experience?" People would come over we'd have me and my ex-wife, we'd have like parties in the evening, karaoke parties, or sometimes I'd have people come over and we'd like play music and jam and sing and stuff. But people would come over and they'd want to go explore the dark corners of the house because they thought it was haunted.
Marty's, the house changed hands several times. Each family that lived there reported the same thing. Nothing happened. No voices, no slime, no red-eyed pigs, no demonic possessions. The biggest problems the families faced were tourists, trespassers, and the occasional reporter looking for a Halloween special. In 1997, the house was sold to Brian Wilson, no relation to the Beach Boys musician, who still owns it as of this writing. Wilson has lived there for over 2 decades. When asked about paranormal activity, Wilson's response has been consistent. The only horror here is the curiosity seekers who won't leave the property alone. The house itself has changed since 1976. The iconic quarter moon eye
I mean,
windows.
I gotta say, if I was in Long Island, I would probably want to stop by and take a selfie, just be like, "Oh, I'm at the Amityville house, yeah," and then I wouldn't hassle the people living there and stuff, but I would want to take my picture with the house. It's a famous house.
Were replaced with standard windows to make the house less recognizable. The address was changed from 112 Ocean Avenue to 108 Ocean Avenue to deter tourists, but the house remains occupied by normal people, living normal lives. Which raises the obvious question. If the house was possessed in 1976, why did the demons leave
My
when the Lutzes did?
sinuses. Oh my
Weber
gosh.
speaks.
My sinuses are killing me. Oh. I've been having a mutant cough and mutant sneeze.
In 1979, the same year the Amityville horror movie was released, William Weber, the lawyer who represented Ronald DeFeo and who helped the Lutzes craft their story, gave an interview that shattered the entire narrative. He admitted it, all of it. According to Weber, he and the Lutzes had concocted the haunting story as a publicity stunt to help DeFeo's appeal and to make money through book and movie deals. Weber stated, "I know this book is a hoax. We created this horror story over many bottles of wine." He described how they pulled details from the actual
So it's
DeFeo.
like Weber admitted to a crime. Did he ever get prosecuted for that? I guess he's not. So if he's using the experience of the Lutzes and he helped them make up the story to use as a defense for his client, I mean, come on, that's not legal.
Murders, the 3:15 a.m. timeline, the creepy basement, the layout of the house, and embellished them with classic haunted house tropes: flies, slime, voices, demonic possession. The formula was simple: take real horror, 6 murdered people, and add fake horror, demons and ghosts, to create a story that felt authentic because it was rooted in truth. Weber claimed that the plan fell apart when the Lutzes cut him out of the book deal and kept all the profits for themselves. That's when he decided to go public with the truth. The Lutzes, of course, denied everything. George Lutz called Weber a liar and insisted that every detail in the book was true. Kathy supported her husband's claims, but Weber had evidence. He had notes from their meetings. He had early drafts of the story where details changed between versions.
Well, I hope they're not mutant coughs and mutant sneezes, Aunt Jer. That sounds terrifying. If I sneeze on something, does it mutate it, or is it just the sneeze itself that's mutant? Is my sneezes and coughs mutagenic? If I cough on someone, does it mutate them?
He had testimony showing that George Lutz had researched demonology and haunted house literature before crafting his narrative. The case went to court. The lawsuits Weber sued the Lutzes for breach of contract, claiming they'd agreed to split the book profits and then cut him out. The Lutzes countersued, claiming Weber was defaming them by calling their story a hoax. The legal battle revealed damaging information about the Lutzes' credibility, financial motive. The Lutzes were in serious financial trouble when they moved into the house. George's business was failing. They were behind on bills. The book deal offered a way out, and it worked. They made an estimated $300,000 from the book alone. plus additional income from movie rights, interviews, and speaking engagements. Contradictory statements. George and Kathy's accounts of what happened in the house changed over time. Early interviews described relatively minor incidents, cold spots, strange feelings. Later interviews, especially after the book was published, included increasingly dramatic claims, levitation, physical transformations, demonic attacks. The priest's testimony, Father Ralph Pecoraro, the priest who allegedly blessed the house and heard the voice say, "Get out," gave...
sorry, that was giving me a headache. It's the ooze, yeah. The secret of the ooze. I'm going to create me some Ninja Turtles. I got a spider here. I can create a mutant spider.
Conflicting statements. In some interviews, he supported the Lutz's claims. In others, he downplayed his experience or refused to comment. Under oath, he admitted he couldn't definitively say what he'd experienced was supernatural. The paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famous paranormal investigators who... Yeah,
those jackasses. They're the ones that kind of blew this thing up and trying to make it into like a big deal.
Visited the house and confirmed it was haunted, had a financial stake in the story. They wrote their own book about Amityville and made money from lectures and media appearances. Their credibility was questionable. They were in the business of finding hauntings, not debunking them. The children's testimony. Kathy's 3 children from her previous marriage later gave interviews as adults. Their memories of the 28 days contradicted many of George and Kathy's claims. One of the children admitted that while strange things happened, much of what appeared in the book was exaggerated or invented. The lawsuits were eventually settled out of court. The Lutzes kept their money. Weber got some compensation, and the official story remained that the Amityville horror was a true account.
Weber should have been prosecuted. He's a defense attorney who is fabricating, who is basically working together with these people to fabricate a false narrative to get his client off. He should have been, and he admitted to it. Or the purple pink ooze from Ghostbusters. The mood slime from Ghostbusters, or the mutagen from Ninja Turtles.
At least according to the marketing, but the damage was done. Serious researchers, journalists, and investigators had dissected the story and found it full of holes. By the mid-1980s, most people who looked into the case critically concluded that the Amityville horror was a hoax, a very profitable hoax built on the graves of the DeFeo family. The victims. Let's take a moment to remember the people who actually died at 112.
Oh, the narrator's voice? I don't even think it's a person. I think it's a AI. Anyone else see the Amityville ghost photo of the little boy looking from the stairs? That's part of the Warren investigation. And yeah, it's, I don't want to say it's been debunked, but people are pretty confident that that it's one of the investigative team that's there with the Warrens.
Ocean Avenue. Ronald DeFeo Sr., 43 years old, a violent man with a temper, yes, but he didn't deserve to be shot in the back while he slept. He had siblings, parents, friends, a life that ended in a pool of blood in his own bed. Louise DeFeo, 43 years old, a woman trapped in an abusive marriage, trying to hold her family together. She woke up to see her husband dead and her son holding a rifle. Those were her last moments. Dawn DeFeo.
Oh, the mama woke up. Okay. She woke up and saw Ronnie pointing a rifle at her and her husband dead.
18 years old, just graduated from high school. She had her whole life ahead of her. Instead, she was shot in the head by her older brother, Allison DeFeo, 13 years old, a child, a middle schooler with friends, hobbies, dreams. Gone. Mark DeFeo, 12 years old, a little boy who loved baseball, shot in the back while sleeping next to his younger brother, John Matthew DeFeo, 9 years old, the youngest, a third grader. He died not understanding why his brother was killing him. These 6 people, flawed, complicated, real human beings, were murdered in one of the most brutal family annihilations in American history, and their legacy became...
It kind of sounds like John Larroquette from the beginning of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. At the I don't know if you've seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but there's like a read at the beginning about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, read by John Larroquette. John Larroquette has an amazing voice. And this guy kind of sounds like him, like an AI doing a John Larroquette voice.
A story where the house is the villain, where demons and ghosts overshadow the actual crime, where people visit not to mourn the victims, but to take selfies in front of the Amityville horror house. The DeFeo murders should have been remembered as a tragedy, as a case study in family violence, untreated mental illness, and the cycle of abuse. Instead, they became a haunted house attraction. The industry. The Amityville horror didn't end with the first book and movie. It became a franchise. There have been over 20 movies bearing the Amityville name. Most have nothing to do with the original house or the DeFeo murders. They're just generic horror films using the Amityville brand to sell tickets. There have been dozens of...
Even one with a possessed lamp. Oh, God, I wish I could find a clip of that. It's so funny. Let me see. Videos. Amityville Evil. It's the Amityville 4, The Evil Escapes is the name of it, but I'm trying to see if there's a clip of the lamp acting a fool. There we go. Let me see. Yeah, there's Amityville with an evil lamp. This is Amityville 4. And there's the evil lamp. That's how they defeat the evil lamp. That's how you do it.
Of books, some claiming to be true accounts, others admitting they're fiction. There are documentaries, podcasts, YouTube videos, and paranormal investigation shows, all profiting from the Amityville story. The house itself has become a tourist destination. Despite the current owner's attempts to maintain privacy, people still drive by, take photos, and sometimes trespass. Every Halloween, the media runs retrospectives on America's most haunted house. It's an industry, a business, built on 6 corpses and a lie. George and Kathy Lutz. George Lutz.
Don't forget these two's lie. It's not just George and Kathy. It's Ed and Lorraine too. They built this lie.
Defended the Amityville story until his death in 2006. He gave interviews, appeared on paranormal shows, and wrote additional books about his experiences. He insisted that every word was true, that the house was evil, and that his family barely escaped with their lives. Kathy Lutz, who remarried after divorcing George, was more circumspect in later years. She gave fewer interviews and seemed uncomfortable with the continued attention. She died in 2004. Their children have given conflicting accounts. Some support the haunting story. Others have admitted that much of it was exaggerated or fabricated. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. Did the Lutzes experience something strange in the house? Maybe. Old houses make noises. The trauma of knowing 6 people died there could create psychological effects. Suggestion is powerful. But did they experience...
That is true. Like, you can have, like, just knowing that happened in that space can affect your mood. It can have a biological response in your body to make you feel like things are really going on around you. And that's my thing about supernatural experiences, right? I generally don't ever tell someone, no, you didn't have that experience. But I do like to say, hey, maybe there's something natural that caused that. Maybe it's, you did see the ghost, but the ghost wasn't actually there. It was something happening with your brain because of the environment and everything. Your psychological state, a lot of factors come into play. The last time you slept.
Possession, levitation, and attacks from a red-eyed pig demon? No, almost certainly not. What they experienced was an opportunity, a chance to turn tragedy into profit, and they took it. What we know for sure. Let's separate fact from fiction. Fact. On November 13th, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered 6 members of his family with a rifle while they slept. Fact. The case had strange elements, the lack of noise, the victims' positions, that remain unexplained. Fact. DeFeo claimed voices made him do it, but was found legally sane and convicted. Fact. The Lutz family moved into the house in December 1975 and left in January 1976. Fact. The Lutzes wrote a book claiming demonic activity drove them out. Fact. William Weber, DeFeo's lawyer, admitted helping the Lutzes fabricate the story. Fact. Multiple families have lived in the house since 1976 and reported no paranormal activity. Fact. The Lutzes made hundreds of thousands of dollars from books, movies, and media appearances. Everything else, the demons, the flies, the slime, the possession, is disputed, unverified, and most likely invented. The real horror of Amityville isn't supernatural. It's human. It's a young man so damaged by abuse that he murdered his entire family. It's a couple so desperate for money that they exploited those murders for profit. It's an entertainment industry that turned tragedy into a commodity. It's a society that would rather believe in demons than confront the real evil that happens every day in ordinary homes.
Look,
violence,
no,
abuse, neglect.
You don't have to believe in. You don't have to just believe in demons. Demons are real. I'm right here. See the horns? These horns, they mean demon. I'm a demon queen. Yes, sorry.
And the failure to intervene. 112. Ocean Avenue wasn't haunted by ghosts. It was haunted by what humans are capable of doing to each other, and that's more terrifying than any horror movie. Today, 112 Ocean Avenue, now renumbered as 108, sits quietly on the Amityville River. The current owner lives there full-time. The windows have been changed. The address has been changed. But the house remains. It's just a house. Old, yes. Historic, certainly. But not haunted. The real haunting is what we project onto it. The stories we tell. The fear we manufacture. Ronald DeFeo Jr. died in prison in March 2021 at the age of 69. He spent nearly 50 years behind bars, always claiming the house made him do it. He never expressed genuine remorse for what he did. The DeFeo family has no memorial. No.
Do you imagine spending 50 years in prison? Jesus.
Most people don't even know their names, but everyone knows the Amityville horror, and maybe that's the final tragedy. We remember the lie. We forget the victims. We made.
I remember the victims. I remember the movie because I'll watch those two movies together: the Amityville horror and Amityville 2, the possession. I won't watch any of the rest of them, even though they're bullshit. I know they're not like the actual examples of the movie, but it tells a compelling story together. But the real victims getting their deaths monetized, I guess. You want to monetize my death? You can monetize my death.
Attraction out of a murder house. We turned real horror into entertainment, and we keep buying tickets. The question. So here's the question I want you to think about. Why do we prefer the ghost story to the truth? Why is it easier to believe in demons than to acknowledge that a young man...
I don't know if we prefer it. I just say it's more fun. More fun to think about demons and possession and stuff. There's the idea of a haunted house in general is ingrained in our culture. The idea that a part of a person can stay behind in the residence that they lived in or be attached to an object that they had. It's part of our human. It's somewhat endearing because it gives you an afterlife aspect. I mean, maybe not the best afterlife, but it does prove that there's an afterlife. I don't necessarily believe there's an afterlife of any kind, right? It does not seem that way to me that there's an afterlife, but it gives people comfort to think that there is.
Damaged by years of abuse, failed by mental health systems, enabled by a family that knew he was dangerous, could walk through his house with a rifle and execute 6 people. Why is the house made him do it more comforting than we failed to stop him? Because if the house is evil, then it's not our fault. If demons exist, then we don't have to look at the real monsters.
Now, The Exorcist is also based on a true story, but at least they changed the names and everything. I think they changed the sex, too. I think in the real Exorcist story, it's a little boy. I know because it took place in St. Louis, and I grew up in Missouri, so it was kind of a thing. But the story was based on, there were parts of it that were based on Annalise Michael, too, who was, she was German. We'll have to cover that at some point as a standalone. The exorcism of Annalise Michael.
Domestic violence, untreated mental illness, systemic failures. The Amityville horror is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid a harder truth. And as long as we keep telling it, we're not learning the lesson that 6 deaths should have taught us. That the real horror is always human. And it's happening right now.
All right, so also had this. Oh, no, not this. That's that lamp thing. Okay, so that was this channel, The Lost Eras. But I also had this right here where it's going to talk about, it's going to show us the inside of the house. It's just a few minutes long, though.
Welcome to the Amityville Horror House, the place where history and horror meet. I'm Brad Smith, lead designer at Omni Home Ideas. Today, we're stepping inside one of America's most infamous homes. But here's the twist. Instead of terror, we'll see how this house has been transformed into a peaceful residence. Are you ready to uncover the stories hidden behind every door and explore the power of design to rewrite history?
Let's do it! Let's do it! Sorry, I was probably a little overexcited about that. But this is pretty new. This is just from a year ago.
The house might look like a charming Dutch colonial at first glance, with its light gray siding, white trim, and dormer windows that add a quaint touch. But these very features have made it an icon in horror folklore. The manicured landscape and serene outdoor seating area hint at the house's current state.
It doesn't have the dormer windows anymore, though, right?
Home far removed from its haunted past. Could a place that looks so inviting really be home to a darker legacy? Now let's move to the two-car garage and boathouse. The garage mirrors the main house's charming exterior, complete with its own dormer window.
See, that's the thing too. If I bought this house and I lived in it, I would have like leaned hella into the whole thing. I'd have been like scaring people away, like doing like I wouldn't have changed the windows out. I would have been like, hey, you stand in that window and I'll stand in this window, and we're just gonna glower at people as they come up, like we're possessed. I come outside with an axe and stuff.
It's functional and matches the property's design perfectly. Just beyond it, the boathouse sits along the canal, adding to the picturesque feel of the home. Imagine this, a horror icon with a boat dock and storage for water sports. It's a little ironic, isn't it? Yet
the boathouse plays a role in the movie, though, and it actually looks exactly like this. I'm surprised at how accurate they got the boathouse. But in the movie, there's several scenes that take place in the boathouse. In the remake, there's a part where she falls in the water and almost drowns in the boathouse and gets her hair stuck in the boat propeller.
Features show just how much the home has evolved. Stepping into the living room, we find a...
Oh, okay. The dormer windows are the ones that with the... Okay, gotcha.
Cozy space that's all about warmth. The soft yellow walls, floral patterned furniture, and classic white fireplace make it feel welcoming and lived in. Built-in bookshelves filled with decorations and a floral...
This house looks lit. The built-in bookshelves, the fireplace. I mean, I wouldn't do the big... these faux flowers everywhere. I don't like that. I guess it's to give it that Dutch colonial antique look, but I think I would decorate a little different.
Complete the look. It's hard to believe that this very room was once associated with eerie occurrences. Here in the dining room, the charm continues with red and white floral wallpaper and a large wooden dining table under a classic chandelier.
Now, I think this one is under, like, when you look at the house here, I think that's underneath this part, right? Underneath this is the dining room. But I think I would change that wallpaper. I don't like that wallpaper. Change it to something brighter, because this is the big bright room. This would be the bright room.
This room feels distinctly New England, with built-in corner cabinets that add a vintage touch. Imagine family dinners in this space. It's a setting that speaks to tradition and warmth. The sunroom might just be the most peaceful room in the house. With windows on 3 sides, it offers a panoramic view of the backyard and canal. Neutral wicker furniture, French doors, and a ceiling fan make...
Summer Rain Song. Before any of you say it, yes, I'm aware my heritage does not show here. Looks are deceiving. Natives know there are things others cannot begin to comprehend. Oh, okay. Yeah. So... if you have stories if you have experiences you want to share, things that you've witnessed, we do a call-in show on this channel on Tuesdays, on Tuesday evening. You can email me at this email address, and we'll have you come on and tell us about your experience.
Make it perfect for unwinding. Sunlight pours in, and the calm atmosphere is a far cry from the chilling stories of cold spots and ghostly figures. The primary bedroom has a soft, neutral palette with beige
walls
I like
and
that.
Cozy
Carpeting. There's a king-sized bed and a small sitting area with an armchair and ottoman.
I don't know about the white carpet and stuff, though. I've had white carpet before. I know better. Nope, I'd get maybe like a taupe carpet.
For quiet reflection.
Like this color.
With personal touches like family photos and simple artwork, this room feels like a sanctuary. In the kitchen, we find a mix of classic and cozy with white cabinetry, brick-patterned flooring, and a green countertop that adds a pop of color. The floral wallpaper border and French doors give it a vintage, inviting charm. This kitchen, with its warm feel.
Ooh, I like the aquarium. I like that aquarium built into the wall there too. I don't know if it's built in. It looks like it is. That's amazing.
Space where families can cook together. And
but that doesn't look like out the window of the Amityville house. What the hell?
Moments. Lastly, we step outside to the backyard. A gravel pathway, lush landscaping, and a cozy seating area create a peaceful garden atmosphere. This outdoor space shows another side of the Amityville house, a retreat where people can enjoy nature and relax in privacy. And that's a tour of the Amityville Horror House today. A place that was once known for its dark past, but now shines as a comfortable family home. What do you think?
It looks pretty nice. Most of it looks pretty nice. Yeah, we would love to hear from you, Summer. We're actually looking for people to call in, for believers to call in and tell us about their experiences. So yeah, we would love to chat with you.
Its reputation? Let us know in the comments. And if you're as captivated by the story and transformation of the Amityville house as we are, head over to our website for a deep dive article with exclusive photos and more design insights. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and explore more with us.
I don't know. I'm like having doubts that this is the same property. Just looking out this window, what are we looking at here? This looks like a apartment looking out over another building. This doesn't look like the same house.
Of classic and cozy with white cabinetry, brick pattern.
What is this?
And a green countertop that adds a pop of color. The floral wallpaper border and French doors give it a vintage, inviting charm. This kitchen, with its warm feel and practical layout, is a space.
I think this is the wrong image in this one, because it's not even describing what we're looking at here, and this is definitely not out the window of the Amityville house. Huh. All right, and then Samantha sent me this, and I thought it was funny. It's kind of like the lamp thing. Foamy the squirrel.
Hey, look what I got from that internet auction site.
What is it?
It's a toaster from that haunted house in Amityville.
You bought a haunted toaster?
Watch, this is cool. You put in regular old white bread and...
Wheat toast? How did you end up with wheat toast?
No one knows. What's even cooler is when you put in wheat bread, you get pumpernickel. And when you put in pumpernickel, you get a blueberry muffin.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah? Fine. It just so happens I have some pumpernickel bread right here.
Some pumpernickel bread. You got to turn into a blueberry muffin. We have many that are older than the country. Yeah, colonial style houses in New England.
Whoa.
See? Blueberry muffin.
That's freaky. What happens if you put a bagel in there?
Good question.
6,798 seconds later.
Is that a pork chop?
Oh man, what a chip. I was hoping it would be one of those toasty cakes.
Ooh, try waffles.
You know, the auction description said not to use waffles.
Why?
I don't know. Something about getting back a toasted human hand or something. I'll fuck around with it.
Whoa, it's a toasted hand.
What did I say about using waffles? The Amityville toaster. Make breakfast spooky. Spooky talk from toaster. Spooky eat me toast. Yum yum yum.
Spooky toaster. All right. So that was our coverage of the Amityville horror. What do you all think? It seems like it was all a bunch of BS. The only part of the story that I find interesting and compelling and makes me go, is the people getting shot in the beds next to each other without waking up. But we don't know what the situation was inside that house leading up to the moment where everybody was shot. They could have all been very much awake, laying face down, as ordered by their killer. So, yeah, we don't know. But what do you think? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. And please remember to be kind. Take care. And we will see you next time. All right. Live from the Hive audience. Don't go anywhere. We have more show to come, a lot more show to come, actually. This is just the end of the first segment. And we're coming up, we're going to talk about demonic backmasking on records. All right. But I'm going to take an intermission because I have to go potty. But we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy whatever this is. I don't know what I got coming up. I don't remember. All right. I'll see you in a minute.
I think this is the first time I ever engaged you was to ask if you were going to talk about this in one of your debates, is the Cambrian explosion and the misrepresentation. And, you know, at this point, for a lot of these guys, it's a deliberate misrepresentation because they've been corrected that about the misnomer that is the Cambrian explosion. You want to go ahead and fill us in a little bit about that? I think this is the first time I ever engaged you was to ask if you were going to talk about this in one of your debates, is the Cambrian explosion and the misrepresentation. And, you know, at this point, for a lot of these guys, it's a deliberate misrepresentation because they've been corrected that about the misnomer that is the Cambrian explosion. You want to go ahead and fill us in a little bit about that?
Yeah, I did actually have one conversation about the Cambrian explosion with a long story short a number of months back. After I first saw his videos, or the team and I who do the videos, after we first ran across him, we did 2 responses to his video. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, he's basically reprising Darwin's Doubt. Darwin's Doubt, for anyone who doesn't know, is a book written in 2013 by the Discovery Institute fellow Stephen Meyer, who's not a biologist, he's not a paleontologist, he's not a geologist, he's a philosopher of science. Perfectly respectable field, not relevant to the topic.
Yeah.
And so Meyer writes this tome. I mean, this is like a 500-page book on the Cambrian explosion. It really proposes 2 theses. The first is that the fossil record shows what looks like an act of divine creation. You have nothing, and then you have the Cambrian organisms. They all just pop out of nowhere. Then his second thesis is that mutations and natural selection can't account for the diversity of life that appears in the Cambrian. Well, they're both just flat wrong. They're both really bad theses, but because for one thing, there were organisms preceding the Cambrian critters. We've known that since I think the 60s. Although it's only been relatively recently that the Ediacarans, which are the organisms preceding the Cambrian, or immediately preceding the Cambrian, have been identified. There are things like Kimberella and Dickinsonia and Hautia, which are animals. And in fact, some of them are bilaterians. And so we have, and actually just earlier this year, I believe, or late last year, was another fossil identified from Australia called Icaria wariutia, which is this little unsegmented, almost worm-like animal, which is a bilaterian. And it matches the features that were predicted based on the tracks Helminthoid dicnites. And so the researchers predicted what this thing should have looked like based on these tracks. And there we have it.
Yeah.
We have the body fossils now.
That's how science should work, exactly. Finding trackways, making predictions based on those, and then following through with that. And the misrepresentation that you see a lot with the Cambrian explosion is that they characterize it as an explosion. And we're talking about a 20 million year period. That's
yep.
That's not it's not a quick event, and you're talking about mostly single-celled organisms at the time that reproduce very, very quickly. Yeah, mostly single-cell. I know that there were multicellular organisms as well at the time, but that reproduce quickly. There's plenty of time for diversification and speciation in that window.
Yeah, you're right. It is a 20-25 million year time frame, and it's framed as they came out of nowhere. They just instantly appear in the fossil record. But there's actually there is a lead up to the Cambrian, and the better picture that we constantly get, because researchers are constantly digging up fossils and doing stratigraphic analyses. Well, this is getting better all the time, and so our picture of the Cambrian is increasingly getting better. Well, we're seeing a series of steps leading up to the Cambrian explosion proper. You've got your soft-bodied bilaterians, then you have small, shelly critters, things, hyoliths and halkyarids, and a lot of these are stem groups. So they're the sort of the predecessors of the crown groups, and these are appearing in the early Cambrian. And then you have the crown groups appearing in the later Cambrian, and they surpass and take over and replace most of the stem lineages. And that looks pretty evolutionary to me. But, of course, most creationists, most intelligent design people are entirely unfamiliar with paleontology, entirely unfamiliar with paleobiology and geology. And
they depend on their audience being unfamiliar with that stuff too. That's really
absolutely.
All right. Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to this installment of Weekend Weird. Doesn't get much weirder than this, does it? We're having a very demonic episode, so we're going to just keep on trucking with that, because today we're talking about what I guess is demonic backmasking. So when I was a young Bree, a young occultist in my little small town, there were certain things that a budgeting witch, or budding young witch, was expected to have. One of them was a Ouija board, which I did have. And then you would want to have some kind of record player, right? Because you need to be able to play the records backwards to do your ritual, because that's how people thought that the occult was done in the early 90s. Isn't that wild? Isn't that just wild? But there was this big thing about backmasking. Records were they weren't even on the way out. They were out. They were antique. Like, you didn't go, like, a record, they stopped making records. They started making them again, like, in the early 2000s, but they stopped making vinyl albums for a while. Well, generally, because they were replaced by, first they were replaced by CDs and 8-tracks, and then they were replaced by, cassettes and 8-tracks, and they're replaced by CDs, and now digital media, but now vinyl's kind of make a big comeback as it's like a vintage thing. And I love vinyl. I like the way it sounds, like the warmness of it. I wish I had a record player, but I don't think I'd play anything backwards on it. That'd be crazy. My parents have big boxes of records in their basement. But we're going to explore the concept of demonic backmasking. And we're going to do so. We're going to follow along with this Wonderland of the Weird channel. I'm Erica. Welcome to my weird spot on YouTube. I'm introvert. I'm Southern. I love spooky things. I've always been interested in urban legend, unexplained. As a kid, my favorite book series was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So this young lady is going to teach or tell us about some backmasking stuff, and then we're going to listen to. We're going to do like a top 10 thing as well. We got this coming up too, but I'm not going to bother plugging that. They got 7.7 million subscribers. They don't need my advertisement. But this young lady, I do like her channel. I'm going to subscribe to it. But yeah, she does give a disclaimer because there is footage on here. I'm going to warn you guys too. There's footage on here of a kid who attempted suicide with a shotgun to the face, and he looks pretty rough. So just giving you a heads up about that. Don't be late with your liking and sharing. Like and share on time instead. Are we late? I hope we're not late. Yes, so some footage may be disturbing to the viewer.
Footage may be disturbing to viewers. On December the 28th in 1985 in Sparks, Nevada, 18-year-old Raymond Belknap and 20-year-old James Vance were listening to Judas Priest's Stained Glass album, which was a Christmas present.
Now, I want to make it clear these weren't children, 18 and 20-year-olds. These were adults.
Raymond to James. Raymond went by Ray and James went by Jay, and they were both huge Judas Priest fans. While they were listening to the song Beyond the Realms of Death over and over again, they were also drinking and smoking marijuana. James then suggested,
I love marijuana and Judas Priest. I can drink it, I can take it or leave it. I'm a social drinker. So, yeah. This is all stuff that I could be doing right now, but instead I'm doing this with you guys. I could be listening to Judas Priest and smoking marijuana, damn it.
That they spin the album in reverse, and this is what they heard. Something must have clicked in their heads while they were listening to the album, because they started to chant, "Do it, do it." And Ray said, "Let's see what's next," with next meaning in the next life. So they came up with a pact. After bumping fists, they were pumped, and they started to smash the
rock and roll bands play Satan's song. Buried within the lyrics of many rock and roll songs are subliminal messages aimed at destroying young people, according to a teacher at Purchase Line High School. The messages, which deal with Satan, death, and sex, are dangerous because the listener is not consciously thinking about the music he's listening to. George White told the audience of young and old people at the Penn Run Brethren Church Sunday night, Satan's real ploy, I feel, is the destruction of the family, White said. Satan's going to destroy the family as fast as he can. And one facet he is using is music. As a person listens to music, his soul undergoes a change, says White, who has been involved with rock music since 1967, when he began managing rock bands. This change occurred because music can create different moods within the person. I mean, that's true. The worst thing that we do to young people is give them a stereo with headphones, White said. The most degrading thing we can do to children is send them to their room to listen to their music. We finance them by buying the music. One of the major ways rock and roll bands place subliminal messaging in their songs is through backmasking. Backmasking is a technique in which the message is recorded in reverse. The brain, said White, has the capability of unscrambling these messages without playing them backwards. Backmasking can be done in 3 different ways. The band can record the phonetic message forward and reverse it when the album is made, or they can use symbols of satanic influence. One example of the phonetic backmasking presented by White was the Beatles' White Album, in the song Number 9, where there is a repetition of the words number 9. The transition of these words, when played in reverse, is "Turn me on, dead man." An example of recorded messages that are reversed with the album is cut is Led Zeppelin's "Stairway to Heaven." When playing the reverse of the lyrics, says, "There's no escaping it, my sweet Satan," and "Come on, little child, for it makes me sad that the power, that it makes me sad there is power in Satan." Okay. According to White, these messages are signs that the group they're talking about the bands, that the groups are worshiping Satan and his ways. These groups are transferring satanic messages to the young people who have begun to worship different musical groups. Are you living this, guys? You must be really high to listen to something there. Yeah. Listen to Led Zeppelin and watch Wizard of Oz. It lines up. I've done that. I've done that twice. The Wizard of Oz thing. Me and Christy did that back way back. Like I want to say like 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. And we were lit too. We were smoking so much weed. We passed around a bong doing that. It was a fun time. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's right. It's not Led Zeppelin. It's Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. You listen to lines up with Wizard of Oz. You got it all wrong. It's Pink Floyd. I don't know why I went along with you and said Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven's the one that is backmasking, though, allegedly. Groups in music are bowing down and honoring Satan, said White. Satan, in turn, is rewarding them through money. Satan, if you're listening, I got like... I don't know, can you see my guitars over? I guess not. I got guitars all over there. You just can't see them at that angle. So, yeah, if you want to make a deal with me, make me a rock star. I'll put subliminal messages in my music for you. Let's talk. Let's work out a deal, baby. Let's set it up. I don't know what you waiting for. I spent so many hours sitting at the crossroad playing guitar. And you never showed up. You left me hanging. Other examples of backmasking include albums by Black Sabbath, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, and Electric Light Orchestra. Oh, that's a hell of a playlist you got there. I'd listen to that. White also said that a group's lifestyle is indicative of what lies within its members' hearts. He used this statement to back up his distrust of groups that talk about a Lord or God in their lyrics, using the song My Sweet Lord by George Harrison. The Beatles, the demonic Beatles, George Harrison. White showed how some musical groups will transmit their messages by changing the words in the chorus. The chorus of the song changes from Hallelujah to Hare Krishna, according to White. This is an indication of Harrison's belief in reincarnation, which is a major belief of the Krishnas. Some rock and roll bands have chosen to incorporate satanic messages directly into their lyrics, said White. Two groups he placed in this category are Black Sabbath and AC/DC, which, Black Sabbath is a horror-themed band. They have a motif, a demonic motif. It's part of their appeal, what they're trying to do. It's their gimmick. The album We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll is a satanic sermon, according to White, which at the end of the album informs listeners that Satan is in control. The most rebellious music on the market is AC/DC, White said. They mix hard music with hard lyrics and come out and tell you that Satan comes by invitation. A denial of Christ automatically gives you Satan, whether you choose him or not. White said that the lyrics are symbols on the album cover only make references to Christ because Christ is the only conflict that Satan has to overcome. Groups such as Styx, the Moody Blues, Nazareth, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer are representative of rock and roll music that impresses the idea of death upon youngsters, according to White. The album covers of these groups depict reincarnation, mythological dogs guarding the entry to hell, and symbols of infinity. Ah, not infinity. Not Greek mythology. That's satanic. Greek mythology is the devil. Moody Blues is awesome. I like Moody Blues a little bit. The famously satanic Krishnas. I know, right? Krishnas are. Let's see. The Christian band Petra put a backwards message at the beginning of their song Judas Kiss. It said, "Why are you looking for the devil when you should be looking for God?" Ooh, flipped it on them. Take that, Satan worshippers. Take that, demonic people. Let's see. Where was I? Because satanic symbols and messages, besides satanic symbols and messages, some musical groups tend to use sex as a tool of the devil in their songs. One of the largest contributors to this category is country and western music. Said, you know, that famously sexy country music. You know, I was just trying to listen. I was listening to some Dolly. Jolene came on, and the next thing I know, Satan standing in my living room. Sex has a very strong influence on young people, said White. One of the biggest breakdowns in society is giving in to the animal instinct. Satan going to attack you at gut level at anything that will influence you. Some of the rankest stuff on the airwaves is country and western. It's a soap opera of music. People think that as long as the word country is with it, it's all right, but it's not. Don't listen to that country music. Don't you let Amy Grant lead you to the dark side. Don't you follow Garth Brooks into Satan's embrace. If you start playing Amy Grant, I'll jump out the window. Oh, I'm not going to play it. I was just making jokes about it. I see your vague reference to non-Christian tradition and raise you Marilyn Manson.
In Ray's room, so Jay wedged the door shut by placing a 2x4 under the door while Ray grabbed a 12 gauge. He opened his bedroom window and he jumped out and ran down.
Why are these grown-ass men sneaking out the window instead of going out the door?
Alley behind his house, and it was well below freezing, and they were only wearing jeans and t-shirts. Once Ray made it to a 6-foot wall, Jay yelled at him to wait, and they scaled the wall together.
Again, these aren't, when they tell this story, they make it sound like they're children. This is I think this is 18 or 19 and a 21-year-old. So these are not children. These are adults.
Around 5 p.m., and it was pitch black outside, so they didn't immediately know where they were. Ray then stepped onto a carousel in the corner of what was actually the playground of the Community First Church of God, and those...
Okay, Dr. Kip, if I recall correctly, the line was, "Why are you worshiping the devil when you should be serving the Lord?" Pushes the glasses up on, I'm not wearing glasses, I'm wearing horns. I wonder what my horns would look like with glasses. The daughter of Maleficent and Poindexter. So I gotta give you all a warning now. We're gonna start seeing. Hold on, how far out are we? They showed the kid sitting on the guy sitting on the swing, but here at about 2.5 minutes. Here at about a minute, we're gonna see this guy who's had lots of reconstructive surgery.
Pulled a single shell from his pocket. And Jay remembered how terrified Ray looked as he heard the gun cock. Ray was then going around and around on the carousel saying, "Do it, do it." And the last words Jay said to Ray was, "Just do it and just hurry up." Raymond...
And yeah, I was super into Marilyn Manson too. I can't help it. Like I can do a perfect, like singing it. It was one of the songs that I would sing on almost every band that I've been in was "Sweet Dreams," because I have my voice, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever, is good for covering Marilyn Manson songs. I do lots of good stuff like this, and I can make my voice sound croaky, and then I can do the little voices like that. Yeah, so like when I do karaoke, I'll do Marilyn Manson songs too, but it's because my voice matches up, and he is a piece of shit creep, but there was a whole production crew involved in writing and making those songs. He didn't write them himself. I've seen Marilyn Manson live, and he sucked. Like, again, I think that I could have got up there and performed the songs better than he did, with better energy than he did. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm not, like, proud of that or anything. I wish my voice was higher and I could do a better job if covering something prettier than Marilyn Manson. But I'm just, yeah. I like the look. I like a lot of music made by horrible people. Yeah, that's true, too. Like, we just talked about Led Zeppelin. Pretty sure that Jimmy Page is a pedophile. Right? I'm pretty sure that it was back in the 70s when it was cool or whatever to have a teenage concubine. Ted Nugent had one. All these guys exploited these young groupie girls, teenagers, children. I like the look, but daughter of Maleficent and Poindexter sent, I don't know, Malefidexter. I think about half the artists I listen to would actually qualify as evil. It's unfortunate. What have you been looking for 15 years, Ember? What Summer said, I didn't see Summer say anything. I do got it on top chat. No, this one's on live chat. You talk of demonic and cults. More than 30 little girls, myself included, survived a serial child predator. We were held underground. He made Satan seem absolutely harmless. That sounds horrifying. I used to cover. I did up until just this fall. I was doing a show called Charlatan's Web where I talked about different cults and the damage that they do. So I have talked about cults quite a bit. So you can go check out those episodes. But again, Summer, absolutely call and tell us your supernatural experiences. I don't know if the show's the right format for you to talk about being kidnapped by a predator unless something supernatural happened in those circumstances. But anyway.
Died instantly, and Jay stood next to the carousel for a minute or two thinking about his mother and the people that cared about him. And then he pulled the trigger.
Okay, whereabouts was it?
Evil exists and it doesn't need the supernatural to support it. Evil is in the heart of man.
Right in my backyard. Is anybody hurt?
It looks like there's two. Didn't go over and look. Two round things, and I went out there and there's two things smoldering on the ground, and it's dark. Crank it up. Get all the detectives.
All right.
Two shots. There's two things smoldering on the ground in the Lutheran churchyard. Oh, great.
There was a dog barking over here, and I yelled at it to shut up.
So yeah, we're gonna see this guy. He looks pretty rough. Just be prepared for that. Yeah, and I'm sorry you experienced such upsetting things, Summer. I really am.
To his death, and he was sitting right here. I could see him, but I couldn't see his eyes. He said he had the gun just clenched up to his throat, and he was talking with the gun just pressed up against his throat. And he said, I sure my life up.
The blast destroyed his nose, his cheeks, his jaw, his tongue, his teeth. but it missed his eyes and his brain. He remembers feeling weightless as he fell to his
So it
knees.
looks like maybe he aimed the shotgun outward a little bit more, so it took off like the bottom half of his face without getting his brain case or his eyes.
And then his face hit the ground. After feeling numbness, someone had turned him over on his back to check his pulse. He remembers fighting with the person to get back onto his stomach. He was then placed into the ambulance and given an emergency tracheotomy. Jay didn't know that he no longer had a mouth or a tongue, and he couldn't understand why the words, "I don't want to die," wouldn't come out.
And again, they keep showing him as a kid, but he was an adult when he did this. When he put the shotgun to his mouth, because Judas Priest, I guess.
Talked to the paramedic. He later told police he only went through with his half of the pact because he was afraid of being accused of taking Ray's life. Jay was in the hospital for 3 months, and he got daily injections of morphine, and he underwent several painful reconstructive surgeries. The skin extenders...
See, that's why it seems like that's probably why it was, because he wasn't really... he was just doing it to keep from getting in trouble for killing his friend, but he didn't really want to die. Oh.
His face pulled down on the remaining flap of skin on his forehead that was needed to reform his face, and it caused very painful swelling. His face was so swollen that he couldn't see. 2 years later, surgeons began working on creating a pair of lips from skin that was taken from the smooth crease under his knee, and he was halfway toward his third and final chin.
What kind of life are you living at that point?
Of his tongue remained, but he had lost his gag reflex, so he would drool and swallow his tongue. He only had one tooth and could only eat by using his thumb as a second incisor. When Jay went to watch his attorneys work on an unrelated trial, he was asked to leave the courtroom because he upset the jury and caused one of the lawyer's daughters to faint when she saw him. Jay would go on to turn down 2 marriage proposals, and a third girlfriend came to live with him and his family after she was kicked out of her house on her 18th birthday, and she'd go on to have 1 child with him. At one point, Jay was injecting up to 2 grams of cocaine a day to ease the pain, but he overcame that addiction
That's a lot of cocaine. That's expensive as fuck.
by getting nerve block injections in the base of his neck. In 1983, he was born again, and he stopped doing drugs for a little while too. He said, either you worship Jesus Christ or you worship Judas Priest. And Jay later said it was their music that turned him temporarily into a white supremacist. In 1988...
I've listened to Judas Priest pretty much all my life, and I've never, in my personal experience, got any kind of white supremacist messaging from them. I will tell you who does give you white supremacy messaging, Pantera, but they're right up front about it. Yeah, you listen to Pantera, there's a lot of white supremacist messaging in there, because Phil Anselmo is a fucking white supremacist, but I digress. And that's the thing too, Pantera's another one. I like the song This Love. Cemetery Gates, Walk was one of the very first songs I learned on guitar. I think it was one of the first songs I learned on guitar in drop D. Can't you see how easily you're bothered by persistence? You weak friends that sympathize. Yeah. There's that ad again. So if you want to buy a cryptozoologist a coffee, the cryptozoologist being me, see the horns, then you click on that link and you can buy me one. It's a perfect opportunity.
He was admitted to the hospital on November the 15th for depression, and on Thanksgiving Day he lapsed into a coma and passed away 6 days later. He died of a methadone overdose, and it's not clear how he got enough of the drugs to end his life. But before he died, he put his mother into the hospital twice. Once was during a seizure from cocaine toxicity, and another was from withdrawal agony. He split her lip the first time, and the second time he fractured her nose. Before his death, James and his parents sued the band and their record label CBS for $6.2 million.
Now we're getting into the point. This is I didn't want to have to go through all of that, but it's kind of pertinent to the tale. I dated a guy who was really into Pantera. There were a lot of racist red flags around him, and I didn't see until years later because I didn't know what they were, like black spade tattoo. Yeah, there was so like I come from like a small town in Missouri, right? And there weren't you didn't have a lot of options on who your friends were, but like if you wanted to be a musician, there were only so many guys in the town or that wanted that played. So a lot of them were freaking white supremacists. It was crazy. Like you go over, like you'd like, oh, let's jam. You know, oh, you play too. Let's get together and jam. Play some metal or whatever. And you get to their house, and they got like a freaking goddamn Confederate flag hanging on the wall. Where they got the twin thunderbolts tattooed on them somewhere, shit like that. It's like, oh well, hell. I don't think all of Pantera were racist. I don't know if Dimebag Darrell was racist or not. I think Phil Anselmo is the racist one. I don't know though. I don't want to say. I mean, all of them stood up there underneath a Confederate flag, right? But I don't know. Kids in the South and Panteras from Texas are taught to glorify the Confederacy.
That Judas Priest hid subliminal messages in their cover of Better By You, Better Than Me that said, let's be dead and do it, and that they influenced James and Raymond to form the pact. In depositions, Jay said that it was the lyric, keep your world of all its sin.
I saw him sing. He was singing with Baby Metal. What were they singing? Were they singing Turbo Lover? I don't think it wasn't Turbo Lover. It was something else. But yeah, it was cute.
It's not fit for living in. That led them both to understand what the message was. The answer to this life is death. Glenn Tipton, a guitarist in the band, said, it's a fact that if you play speech backwards, some of it will seem to make sense. So the band bought a copy of the Stained Glass album in a local record shop. They went into the studio, recorded it to tape, they turned it over and played it backwards. What they recorded was played in court, and this is what they heard.
The backward interpretation, which is I asked for a peppermint, I asked for her to get one. In forward.
Halford was singing with Baby Metal. A video I saw it on it was on my Facebook feed.
Stand by for Exciter, salvation is his task. So what we'll hear first is I asked for a peppermint, I asked for her to get one.
Rob Howard.
That's the same, that same Auntger, and people back where I come from still think that there's nothing wrong with the Confederate flag and think that I'm like a woke pussy liberal. I'm not even a liberal, which is a funny thing. I'm not a liberal. I'm the furthest thing from a liberal. But that I lost my train of thought. That because like culturally, like things like Dukes of Hazzard and it just representation of the South, right? Like I mention it all the time that the town I grew up in has a Confederate monument in front of the city courthouse or the county courthouse. Not only does that monument as a Confederate monument, it has an American flag and a Confederate flag on it.
The band's lead vocalist said that they didn't know what a subliminal message was and that what people were hearing was just some weird guitar sounds and the way that he exhaled between lyrics. However, under cross-examination, he admitted to placing a reverse message in Love Bites. He said that he quite intentionally recorded the phrase "in the dead of the night, love bites" backward, and that he played it simultaneously with the same words recorded forward. He said the backward version just sounded like garbled speech. In the end, the judge agreed that there were subliminal messages, but they were only discernible after they were pointed out and after the sounds were isolated and amplified. You can't talk about backmasking and not talk about occultist Aleister Crowley, aka...
Ooh, here we go. Samantha was talking about this the other day, so this is for you, baby.
Great beast. He was born Edward Alexander Crowley, and his father was an evangelical pastor, so he spent the first part of his life as a Christian. His father died when he was 11, and his beliefs changed quickly after that. He started to question the Bible, and he engaged in activities that he knew the church frowned upon. Because of his actions.
And if you like Aleister Crowley, there's a lot of conspiracies that he's wrapped up in. I actually got one more on the list here of things that we can cover. That, ow, my tailbone, that includes a very funny Aleister Crowley conspiracy.
Others started calling him the Beast, and he embraced the name. He soon developed an interest in non-Christian religions and the black arts. Many occultists believe that he was the first to intentionally play records backwards, but that wasn't accurate. A year after Thomas Edison invented the phonograph in 1877, he noted that when playing music backwards, it remained melodious in many cases, and it allowed certain songs to feel as if they were actually two songs. He's probably the one responsible. I
like that, though. I like that when there's songs that when you play them backwards, it's a completely different song. There was the, you all remember the God's Chorus crickets, where when you slowed it down, it sounded like people singing.
For the practice being seen negatively, at least when it comes to pop culture. In a book that he wrote in 1912, he said those interested in black magic should learn to walk backwards, speak backwards, read and write backwards, watch movies backwards, and listen to records in reverse. The purpose of this was to strengthen the person's will, which would assist them in occult rituals. And one of his teachers, Alan Bennett, who he met while they were both in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and who was said to have recited the Lord's Prayer in reverse as a child. And the purpose of the ritual is to remove Christian indoctrination. If performed correctly, any issues in the magician's consciousness will rise to the surface, and once the issue is identified and isolated, he will be more free to be what nature intended.
It's important to break yourself from certain indoctrinations from childhood. There's a lot of, built into Christianity, there's a lot of patriarchal misogyny, hierarchical classism. There's a lot of like birthright authority and stuff like things that aren't real that you need to like let go of, right? And it's all this indoctrination, nonsense. And like being gay is like some kind of terrible thing and stuff like that. Okay, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Order where they met was a secret society devoted to the study and practice of the occult, metaphysics, and paranormal activities during the late 19th and 20th centuries. It derived from the Rosicrucians and was also known as a magical order. Crowley wasn't a Satanist, but the story stuck with him and it may have influenced his philosophies. Led Zeppelin's guitarist Jimmy Page was interested in the occult, and in the 70s...
Oh, we just mentioned him a little bit ago. Child predator.
He bought Aleister Crowley's estate in Loch Ness, Scotland, and in an interview with Rolling Stone magazine in 1975, he talks about the bad energy the place had, even before Crowley had ever lived there.
Yeah, you got to back your truck up, John. You can't drive it forward if you want to find the path to darkness.
And the spirits that are said to haunt the place. A man supposedly lost his head in the house, and you can sometimes hear it rolling around.
No, excuse me. Hearing the head roll around. That's wonderful. I love that. More of that, please.
To the ground while the congregation was still inside. Subliminal messages and their adverse effect didn't start with heavy metal. Billie Holiday's version of Gloomy Sunday was banned from the radio in 1942 when several women who lost their husbands in World War II ended their lives after they listened to it. The Hungarian composer of the song took his own life 35 years after its release. And here are some...
Yeah, anyone who takes anything Aleister Crowley said or wrote or taught should check themselves. He was an abusive, predatory POS and a heroin addict. And here's the thing about the Golden Dawn and these all these Etruscan orders and all that. They use a language interpretation called Enochian, which is like the angelic language. Those symbols that we saw all over the let's see, where are we? 1147. Okay, yeah, all these symbols and stuff. This is like Enochian symbols. Well, some of it are. There's a lot of other type of occult symbols in here too, now that I look at it closer. But that language was famously channeled.
They met was a secret society.
Was famously channeled by was it Edward Kelly and John Dee. Now the reason why that was channeled by Edward Kelly and John Dee is because Edward Kelly, let me make sure I get this right because I sometimes I get it mixed up. I believe Edward Kelly wanted to bang John Dee's wife. Which one was it? Yeah, so yeah, Edward Kelly was the creepo. He had pointed ears. He got his ears cropped, which was a punishment for like counterfeiting and forgery. So he was basically like the John Smith of his day. He had a criminal record for this. What was that? 11. There we go. And they still use that language today in all these occults, these sacred occult orders. And it's something that this huckster, this well-known forger and counterfeiter, made up to try to trick this guy and let him sleep with his wife. Enochian was the language channeled by these two gentlemen, by John Dee and Edward Kelly. Enochian was channeled by them from the angels. It's the language of the angels. And, yeah. The language he learned on his heavenly tour. Yes, I guess that's correct. Yeah, it's, but they let these guys learn it. Let these two guys learn it. And then they wrote it down and documented it and put it in all their occult books and stuff. And since they were such famed occultists of their day, it became like the go-to. And now looking back on it, it's funny. It's like, this guy just made this stuff up to sleep with your wife. And now like Aleister Crowley and all these so serious occultists are using this language. Give me Tolkien's languages instead. They're prettier. If we're just going to use made-up languages.
To contain supposed subliminal messages and backmasking, whether intentional or not. One of the most well-known instances of backward masking is Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. If you play it forward, you hear, "If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now, it's just a spring clean for the May Queen." Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. But if you play the song backwards, you hear, Prince left us a secret.
Now, I don't believe that was done intentionally at all. I think that sounds like just audio pareidolia.
In Darling Nikki. Towards the end of the song, you hear a choir singing, but it sounds eerie. It sounds like a bunch of gibberish, but it's actually the sound of a choir singing backwards.
Hello, how are you?
Uh-huh.
He managed to insert a beautifully clear Christian message inside of an extremely erotic song, and some consider this blasphemy. When you play this song forward, you hear, "With you I lose my mind."
This one, it's kind of creepy and gross.
Sign. Backward, you hear this. Some groups have...
It's like, is that like the song they listened to on the Epstein Island? In Enochian, is Enochian any more functional than David Falk's dog shit con language? I think they get away with it not being very functional because it's like a ritual language, ritual text, or ritual script. I don't know how functional Enochian is. It'd be an interesting thing to look into, though. But I doubt it's as functional as Tolkien's languages and stuff. And because Tolkien was a linguist, that was his profession, was like breaking down how languages work and how they evolve and stuff. So making one was his bread and butter. Oh, now Pink Floyd's gonna come into the mix. I love Pink Floyd. I could grab my guitar and play some Pink Floyd for you right now.
Had fun with backmasking and would include positive or funny lyrics, and one of those groups was Pink Floyd with their song Empty Spaces. When you play the song in reverse, you hear this. Most claims of backmasking may be just a simple case of pareidolia, which is a psychological phenomenon involving an image or sound, and it's where the mind...
It's because we're monkeys and we look for patterns, and our brains look for patterns and things. I like the funny farm. They're coming to take you away, haha. They're coming to take you away. Which one is pink? I don't know.
Perceives a familiar pattern where there isn't one, and here are some examples. When it comes to audio pareidolia, EVPs or electronic voice phenomena is an audio form of this. So our minds are wired.
I love that waterfall. It looks like a woman in a dress. That's gorgeous. Where's that at? I love that.
So even when there's only a slight suggestion of facial features, the brain automatically interprets it as a face. When we're listening to music in
the plant face,
trying to make sense of what we're hearing, so we may think we hear a word that isn't really there. So if a person is looking
that house is sus
for certain words, when the song is reversed, they'll probably find them because of the power of suggestion and audio pareidolia. I really hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and I will see you really soon.
We got more, though, because we're going to do this top 10 scary messages in songs played in reverse. Yeah, we're going to do... And it's going to start with a clip of Psycho, apparently. But if you don't look at the words that someone else has suggested, it doesn't sound like anything, right? Someone tells you. That's the thing with EVP too. You can like listen to it, and then someone can say, "Oh, he's saying this," or "It's saying that," and then you listen to it and you can hear that. But it's like the remember the sound clip that they used to play all the time, where it was like Laurel or Yanni. The voice said, and depending on like how you listened, it could change. You could change what it was saying. That was some craziness.
Hey, Most Amazing Top 10 family, I'm your host, Chade Arena. Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. The reverse song theory has been terrorizing North America for so long. Ever since the devil was in rock and roll, parents have been terrified that bands are leaving messages to corrupt their poor, sweet babies into satanic monsters. And sometimes they were wrong, and other times they were right. And that's why I'm bringing you today's list of top 10 scary
messages speed this up a little bit.
Played in reverse. As always, I would love it if you would like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, stick around around for the whole video because I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts, which you guys love so much. If anyone at home needs more Most Amazing Top 10 content, check us out on Instagram and Facebook, and we are starting to do Facebook exclusive content that you guys should all go check out as soon as you can. If anyone needs some Most Amazing merch, check out the link below in the description. Use the offer code MA10 to get $5 off, which means you can grab a shirt.
Damn, why do I look so fucking good with horns? Like, I'm like, maybe I should just wear horns all the time. They kind of become me.
$10, which is an amazing deal. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. At number 10, we have Snowblind by Styx. All right, we're gonna kick off this list with a classic song that was at the tail end of the Satan and rock and roll movement. This song came out in 1981, and punk rock was about to switch the focus of the devil being in music to delinquents wanting to start an anarchist movement to overthrow the government. Maybe news outlets should stop blaming musics and musicians for civil unrest and focus on the billionaires that are crippling the economy and social services and using their wealth to hang out with people like
Thank you, John Hudson.
Epstein and do horrible things with minors. But this is a conversation for another video. This Styx song became a hot button of discussion.
Damn. This video was from 6 years ago. And did you hear what he just said? We've known
musicians for civil unrest and focus on the billionaires that are crippling the economy and social services and using their wealth to hang out with people like Jeffrey Epstein and do horrible things with minors. But this is a conversation for another video. This Styx song became a hot button of
6 years ago he said that.
discussion because when you play in reverse, it sounds like the lyrics are saying, Satan moves through my voice. Let's have a listen and let me know what you think.
Try so hard to make it so slick and move.
The word Satan sounds pretty clear, and I think that's what got eyes focused on this song, but the rest of the sentence seems like just a jumbled mess. But that didn't stop the PMRC from using this song as an example of why albums...
What they need to do is play the audio clip once without the lyrics that they've put onto it shown, and then play it again with the lyrics shown. It's been so long since I've heard anything about EVPs. Yeah, because they're kind of got in the way of the orb. All those early 2000s ghost evidence have all been kind of soundly debunked. Yeah, a lot of things interfere with electronic signals. So EVP is, yeah, it's interference with electronic signaling. A lot of different materials and alternative signals and different wavelengths and stuff will garble them.
Label it. At number 9, we have Queen with Another One Bites the Dust. Now we're going to move a year back in time to 1980. Another One Bites the Dust is, of course, the Queen hit that is one of the greatest fight intro songs ever. When Floyd Mayweather used this as his entrance music against Arturo Gatti, it was just mean.
Theme music for the ultra-confident Floyd Mayweather. He has a spectacular smile, and the Gatti crowd responds to the mode of transportation.
But other than a great song to play right before you beat someone into a bloody pulp, it's also thought that this song has some subliminal messages in it. The accusation is that when you play it in reverse, it sounds like the Queen song is saying, it's fun to smoke marijuana. Let's have a listen.
I don't know how people can be so susceptible to...
I don't think this was intentionally thrown in there. This one sounds a lot like it's fun to smoke marijuana. And
it does sound a lot like that. I don't know how people can be so susceptible to subliminal messages, though. Like, just hearing a Queen song to make you want to start smoking weed.
on what country you're from, your opinion on whether or not it's actually fun to smoke marijuana will probably change. In Canada, you can buy the stuff in stores, but in China, you get the death penalty, which can really influence your opinion on the drug. At number 8, we have the Beatles with Revolution 9. If you ever heard the song before, it's already creepy as is. It's not even a song, really. It's just a series of recordings cobbled together that gives the ambiance of some sort of psychological torture. And if the original track wasn't enough to make you never want to turn the song on again, it also has a creepy tune playing in the background that I bet you didn't know about.
Number 9, number 9, number 9.
Oh yeah, Chick just talked about this in that previous video.
This track has sparked a bunch of conspiracy theories.
So we get to hear it.
Them being that the rest of the Beatles were behind John Lennon's death. Some people think this is also evidence that Paul McCartney is actually dead, and his whole career after his car crash has been some sort of...
Paul is dead!
The public. Imagine being Paul McCartney and you're live and everyone else is like, hey, you're not the real Paul McCartney, you're a fake. And you're like, dude, it's me, it's me. At number 7, we have Motorhead with Nightmare the Daytime. If you're a heavy metal fan...
Fucking love Lemmy! Woo! Lemmy wouldn't like being called heavy metal, though. Lemmy says, we're Motorhead, and we play rock and roll! That's Lemmy. He plays rock and roll.
We know a lot about Motorhead, and it should be no surprise that one of the titans of the genre hid some... Everyone else is like, hey, you're not the real Paul McCartney, you're a fake. And you're like, dude, it's me, it's me. At number 7, we have Motorhead with Nightmare the Daytime. If you're a heavy metal fan, you probably know a lot about Motorhead, and it should be no surprise that one of the titans of the genre hid some dark messages in their music. It was rock and roll and metal that started the whole worshiping the devil music in the first place. It only makes sense that they...
667. 6 and 7. Ooh, 6, 7. Ah, you did it. You got me. You got me 6, 7. I am the walrus.
continue the tradition with a little backmasking. If you are unfamiliar with backmasking, it's when you intentionally put a message in a song that can be heard in reverse. Unlike the other songs we've had on this list so far that are just a coincidence, this next chunk is meant to be in there and heard by the people. And that's just a little piece from how it starts. It continues with narrow-minded flights of paranoia. I and people like me will always prevail. You will never stifle our free speech in this country or any country around the world, because we will fight forever. If that doesn't make you want to get up and fight for freedom, then nothing will. Let's go.
Fucking Lemmy. Oh, yeah. He was probably a piece of shit, too. Don't tell me if he was. I don't even want to know. He's dead now. I don't even want to know, but it seemed like Lemmy was a good dude all the way to the end. Maybe a decent dude?
At number 6, we have Hell Awaits by Slayer. We are back in the realm of hell and metal with the Slayer track. You don't really need a message in a song titled Hell Awaits. I think you get the message across before anyone even listens to the track, but hidden in a backwards message is a very on-brand message for this song. When the song
Join us,
forward,
join
it
us!
sound like demonic ramblings. But
Join us, join us, join us!
Sorry. I was taken in by the music.
when you flip them over and play them in reverse, the clear message of recruiting people to the Dark Lord is right in your face. Slayer wants you to join the Dark Army and probably do hell stuff. I don't really know what that means. It could be sacrificing a virgin in the moonlight and summoning one of the kings of the underworld, or just a nice potluck. At number 5, we have Grim Reaper, Final Scream. The band and song title are both fear-inducing, and it's no surprise that there's a creepy message lurking in the shadows. At the beginning of this song, there's a bunch of grumbled noises. Once you play them in reverse, you can hear them clear. If any of you didn't pick up on that, it's pretty clear that he's saying, see you in hell. This is another case of backmasking, and I read a few different reasons on why Grim Reaper might have concealed this in their song. Some people think this could have been a hidden message to a rival band or
a band called Grim Reaper hiding a message, see you in hell, in a backmasking track. That seems on point to me. Is it intentional? I was told that the demons often put the messages in the songs without the awareness of the artist. If you exclude pieces of shit from your art, literature, and music, you'll have less things to listen to the Mormon missionaries. Yeah, I know. I know. Hey, good morning, Kristen. Hope you're well.
Person, while other people think the message See You in Hell was just a reference to their previous album titled See You in Hell. At number 4, we have Sound.
They had an album called See You in Hell. That singer just seems on the nose that that's exactly what it was then. Why even speculate?
665. This is probably the funniest one on the list. It seems like Soundgarden saw everyone putting backmasking into their tracks, and they wanted to do their own
love Soundgarden.
spin on it. Like, don't do what all the other kids are doing. Have a little originality. Take what people have done before you and improve on it. This case in backmasking is so close to the other ones, but also so different. Very revolutionary. You didn't hear that right.
Oh, boys, you are so funny.
Saying Santa is king. Not Satan, but Santa. Trust me,
Santa.
you won't miss hearing this. If you don't believe me, later in the song he says, my Christmas king. But if you really are going to praise anyone as your giant savior, I would pick Santa. He travels around the globe, dropping off presents for kids, and is the poster boy for body positivity. The guy hasn't tried to get in shape for like 500 years. Also, I'm a big fan of Christmas. Wrap me up in a comfy sweater and feed me gingerbread until my blood sugar is at nuclear levels. And
I love that.
Becoming a dentist. I support the backmasking in Soundgarden, for sure. Number 3, we have Deep Purple with Stormbringer. Next, we have some backmasking that has a movie tie-in. If you've ever
Ooh, Deep Purple, bringing me way back.
Listen to some old rock and roll or metal and you hear some demonic gibberish at any point, you might want to play it in reverse. Based on this list, there's a good chance that there are some twisted lyrics on the other end. Except for that Christmas thing. All hail our Christmas Lord Santa. May he forever bring us presents and enough turkey to make 1,000 turkey sandwiches. In the song Stormbringer by
We did talk about the Prince song. It's been a while back here, though. How far back was it? Not too far back. Or no, maybe it was in the previous video. I think it might have been in the previous video. He might cover it again in this one. Yeah.
Well, there's a chunk in the song at the beginning that is apparently pulled right from the movie The Exorcist. This one you're going to have to trust me on. There are some creepy backmasking lyrics in this song. I don't know if they're directly pulled from the movie, but they certainly sound like they are. The reason you're going to have to trust me on this is because I can't play them for you on this channel without beeping them out. It's not exactly viewer friendly, so if you want, you can go Google.
It's about what your mother does in hell, is what the song says. What she sucks upon in hell.
Deep Purple Stormbringer in reverse and listen to it for yourself. I promise you won't be disappointed. At number 2, we have Marilyn Manson, Tourniquet. Marilyn Manson has become world famous for becoming one
There we go, Marilyn Manson. I like Tourniquet too. That's a good song. Again, with Marilyn Manson, it's like, oh, I'm so good at covering Marilyn Manson.
scariest dudes around. There's definitely an argument that he is one of the most important goth icons who has ever existed, next to the Plague Dude. The Plague Dude is like probably a little higher than him. On top of that, he is very well educated, and in interviews he speaks like a Harvard professor. And there was also a rumor about him and his ribs. It might have just been my generation, but everyone spread the exact same rumor about Marilyn Manson, which is 100% not true. Unless it is, I don't know, maybe it is, but I don't think it is.
I don't think that actually worked. The thing where he removed his ribs to go down on himself, I don't think that's true.
Imagery that Manson would put right in front of your face. There's also a ton of nightmarish themes he would be hiding in his lyrics through backmasking. Like the song Dope Hat, where it repeatedly says kill yourself, and in the song Tourniquet, where it says if you didn't catch that, he's saying, I'm at my lowest point of vulnerability. Very dark and depressing. Are you doing okay, Marilyn? If you need some help, man, you can come hang out with me. We'll go get coffee. We'll talk it out. Like, it's gonna be
You
fun.
don't really want to hang out with Marilyn Manson. Come on, think it through.
For the #1 spot, we have Judas Priest, Better By You, Better Than Me. This is probably one of the most high-profile cases of alleged lyrics in reverse. First, I'll have all of you watching listen to the song, and then I'll give you the full breakdown. Being straightforward, I don't hear anything, and Judas Priest has made it very clear that there is no secret message in the song. But in 1985, 2 young men who were listening to the song said they could hear Judas Priest saying, do it, do it. Raymond Belknap and James Vance were hanging out, consuming some cannabis and alcohol, while listening to Better By You, Better Than Me. Then they went to a church.
Yeah, we just covered this just a moment ago, but we'll go back through it.
Shotgun. Belknap was killed instantly, but Vance survived, and was able to give a statement to the police, the media, and the entire country. It's clear that both these men were struggling with mental illness, and it's a shame that they weren't able to get the aid that they needed. However, this was at the height of the satanic music craze. Parents of both the victims sued Judas Priest, and the legal battle went on for years and gained major media attention. Judas Priest eventually won the battle, but it took a long time. All right, everyone, that is our list. Thank you all for tuning in. As promised, I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts. Remember, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram.
Ozzy did some backmasking. Yeah, this guy just does a pet shout out thing after this. But, yeah, that's our backmasking. That's some backmasking. Let me see. Keep talking about playing guitar. Makes me want to grab a guitar. I don't have a pick, though. I don't have a pick. Where did my pick go? I laid it on the bed. Oh. You know what? Maybe at the end of the show I'll strum something. I'm not going to dig for a pick right now. But that's going to wrap up our Week in Weird. We had demonic backmasking. It doesn't get much weirder than that. Some of it's real. Some of it's not. And it's a smorgasbord. What do you think? Do you think that there can be secret messages that make you do things you don't want to do, like put a shotgun in your mouth? I don't know, man. You tell me in the comments down below. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time. All right, so don't go anywhere. Don't leave. We still have one more segment of the show to go. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, I know. Sabrina May. I don't want to spill your tea, but Sabrina has fairly close ties with Marilyn Manson. I don't want to spill your tea, honey, but yeah, I remember me and Sabrina worked together years ago. I remember talking about that. But yeah, I don't want to tell everybody. Sabrina's got kind of a famous sibling, but all right. So I'm gonna take an intermission. I'll be back in like 2 shakes, and then we're gonna talk about giant squids. So don't go anywhere. And then when that's done, it's going to kick you right over to Dr. Ben's, talking about raw milk. Yes, you're going to watch, Kid Rock drink raw milk in a hot tub. All right. So, stick around and we'll pop you right over there. Okay.
tortured and scared you for 20-odd years. Well, then they expect you to pick a career when you can't really function, you're so full of fear. Say the working class hero is something to be. Yes, a working class hero is something to be. Thank you very much, folks.
Rise up in the morning, grab a coffee, check your fit. Hit the ground running, but try not to forget. There is a place where you can go to share some puppy hugs. Slow it down and listen in. Have some caffeine with your friends with Java and Jugs. The best way to start your week, to make that AM commute. Have that hot cup in your hand and wearing something cute.
And don't forget, girls,
there is a place where you can go and bring your favorite mug. Slow it down and listen in. Have some caffeine with your friends with Java and Jugs. Rise up to the day ahead. Find a place to sit. We saved a special place for you, so try not to forget. There is a place where you can go with sugar, cream, and love. Slow it down and listen in. Have some caffeine with your friends with Java and Jugs. Careful, it's hot. Spend a Monday with your friends with Java and Jugs. We have mocha, vanilla, hazelnut with Java and Jugs. Coming right up.
Hello, my friends. Welcome. Once again, we are back, and this is going to be the last time we do this segment of the show. So just preparing you, because this one kind of crosses over into cryptozoology anyway, because we're talking about giant squids today on Bree's Bestiary. And yeah, this is going to be the farewell to Bree's Bestiary as part of Life in the Hive. I don't know if it'll come back in some other form. Maybe not. The channel's really getting a level of refocus on leaning into the supernatural stuff and the occult stuff and all that, and looking at that with a skeptical lens. So this is just kind of a holdover from a different time when the channel was more about animals and about bugs. But time moves forward. The problem with Java and Jugs is that it's on Monday morning. Yeah, I can hear that. But I love me a giant squid, so we're gonna do TED Ed lessons worth sharing. So they want me to share this. They better not get mad and copyright strike me for sharing it. Talk about a giant squids.
In 1873, two fishermen off the coast of Newfoundland glimpsed what they thought was a submerged shipwreck. But when they probed the mass, it moved, and huge serpentine appendages soon besieged their boat. One fisherman took an axe to the animal, and it disappeared in a cloud of ink. What remained were two long limbs, definitive evidence in a collection of clues that would only continue to grow. Over time,
if it was at the surface, it was probably pretty much dead anyway.
Clear that giant squids were more than mythical monsters. People found sizable specimens washed ashore, caught in nets and at the sea's surface, and observed.
I don't. Yeah, Java and Jugs is not optimal. There's a reason why me and Maya aren't on there very often, because we're in westerly time zones, and it does not coincide well for us to get up and do Java and Jugs in the morning. I'm on there sometimes, though, enough that I am in the thumbnails and in the intro. Make it like maybe once or twice a month, maybe.
Whales with sucker-shaped scars and large beaks in their stomachs. But it wasn't until recent decades that scientists actually found living giant squids in their natural habitat. So, what do we really know about these creatures? Well, interestingly, one thing we've gathered is that they might not even be the biggest squids out there. There are
because there's colossal squids. Yep.
Of squid species inhabiting almost all parts of the ocean, ranging from the size of a thumbnail to more than 7 times the length of a human. All squids are carnivores and share the same basic body plan, including a muscular mantle that covers their internal organs, a sharp beak, 8 arms, and 2 tentacles specialized for capture.
I only have 2 arms, but I don't have any tentacles. I have I do have eyes and I have horns.
And prey. The smallest squids eat things like tiny shrimp, while larger ones can feast on fish using their powerful beaks. The Humboldt squid's bite force, for example, is strong enough to shatter Kevlar plates. And the suckers on the giant squid's long, clubbed tentacles are encircled by sharp, teeth-like protrusions that help them grip prey like deep-sea fish and other squids.
That's rough. Getting bit by a giant squid would be no joke.
Giant squids live in the cold, dark, high-pressure twilight zone. It's extremely unlikely you'd ever encounter one, since you'd be very out of
which makes me sad because I want to encounter one. I want to tickle his tentacles.
Depth down there. We don't know exactly why giant squids are so big, but the phenomenon fits with a pattern of deep-sea gigantism, where certain deep-sea species dwarf their shallow-living relatives. Perhaps because food down there is scarce.
Like those giant isopods that live down there that are as freaking big as a bag of charcoal.
Large animals that can cover more ground and store more food are favored. Giant squids' size could also give them an anti-predator advantage, while the deep's cool temperatures help them manage their metabolic rates. Innovations over the past 150 years, from dredges and bathyspheres to untethered and remotely operated submersibles, have enabled peaks into the deep. And yet, it wasn't...
I would not go down that deep in a bathysphere, though. I think the pressure would be, yeah, okay.
Until 2004 that researchers actually saw a giant squid in its natural habitat. Then, finally, in 2012, scientists lured a giant squid and got it on video. They used a stealth camera system fitted with a device mimicking a bioluminescent jellyfish under attack. The system had no thrusters, keeping it unobtrusively quiet, and it only projected beams of red light, undetectable to most deep-sea dwellers. Both encounters revealed that giant squids are not sit-and-wait predators, as previously suspected. Instead, they're active hunters that
I mean, you can sit and wait until you see the jellyfish distress signals, right?
Basketball-sized eyes to stalk their prey before projecting their tentacles and snatching animals up to 10 meters away. But many questions still stand. We know sperm whales eat giant squids, but it's unclear how fierce the fight is and if the squids ever stand much of a chance of escaping.
I doubt it.
Off the number of giant squid beaks in whale bellies, one estimate placed the global giant squid population at around 4 million. It seems they mate when a male injects sperm packets into a female's arm. But exactly how they...
That's how we mate too, as humans, right? You all inject your sperm packets into your female's arm, fellas? Have you been doing that? Maybe that's the reason why there's the male loneliness epidemic, is because you haven't been doing that.
Find each other, and what happens after are uncertain. Giant squids are globally distributed, but they're mostly missing from the planet's polar regions, one of which happens to be where another humongous squid species...
The colossal squid!
The elusive colossal squid.
Now, the giant squid's still longer.
Far fewer specimens have been collected, and they've yet to be seen or documented in their habitat. But we know they're from a completely different family than giant squid. Evidence that gigantism independently evolved more than once among squids. Their limbs are shorter than giant squids, but their mantles are larger, making them up to twice as heavy. And unlike the giant squid's toothy tentacles, colossal squids have hooked, swiveling sucker barbs. Much remains mysterious.
Yeah,
about these animals.
They look like cat claws. They literally look like a giant cat claw, but they're all up and down their grabbing tentacles.
We know they're down there, guarding their secrets in the deep, dark sea.
Ooh.
If unraveling the mysteries of the deep appeals to you, check out ed.
So what do you all think of the giant squid? Obviously, giant squids were the krakens of old. They'd wash up on the beaches, and people would come up with lore and folklore to put behind them, and they become sea monsters and legends. You get things like not Baphomet, Leviathan and Tiamat, in the Kraken, and you get Scylla and all these giant sea monsters, because these things would wash up this, like giant squids, globsters, which are going to be on the list for CrypticCorner polls next week. So if you want to see more about that, you can select that one. But they come up with folklore to build around these creatures that wash up. You see an oarfish, a different beaked whale, all these different creatures that wash up, and they're like, oh, we have to come up with some kind of reason for this, and someone would come up with a story to it, and then we build folklore on that, and that's where we get dragons and sea serpents and all that. It's really cool, but it's very easy to trace. But octopi is the least correct of the correct variants. What are we talking about? The plural of octopi or octopus, octopodes. I like octopodes Because the puss part means the feet. It means 8 feet. And pod means foot too. Like a podiatrist. So octopode makes octopodes the 8-footed ones. Where squids have 10. Like counting their grasping tentacles. But they all have the little rocket jet to squirt water through. I appreciate that ruling. So any of the above is acceptable. But octopi is the least correct. Okay. Yeah. There's a mistake in octopi. Octopi sounds funny. It's like platypi, like when you're talking about a platypus. Platypi. But it's not correct. Is it platypodes? No, it's platypuses. It's platypuses. Octopuses I don't like, though. Octopuses doesn't fit on my tongue, right? The octopuses. All right. I got to send you all over to Dr. Ben's. So, please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next week.